My daily life in a TV series. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 126 Wild Mandarin Duck. The next day, early in the morning, because Karen used her innate magical powers to predict that it would rain today, Adam and his 3 friends got up early and prepared to finish the hunt before it rained. In the morning, many animals came out to look for food. Adam and his friends soon found a herd of deer. A dozen deer of all sizes were eating grass, raising their heads from time to time, and looking around with their ears erected. "Let's compare with a female deer today," Adam laughed softly. "I'll do it." Juno nodded and aimed at a female deer without horns on her head. Clear, clear. After confirming again and again as if he had obsessive-compulsive disorder, Juno pulled the trigger. Bang! A gunshot. The herd of deer was startled and scattered. Adam saw from a distance that the female deer that Juno was aiming at wailed, but did not fall down immediately. Instead, it ran away in the distance, not very fast. Missed. Juno smiled embarrassedly. Obviously not everyone can be as steady as Adam, and the first time is full of uncertainty. "You hit it. She is injured. Let's catch up," Adam reminded. "Okay." Juno and Karen followed Adam and chased the doe. There was a lake not far away in the direction they were heading. There were 2 tents by the lake. Apparently someone was camping here. Americans are keen on traveling and adventure, and the camping culture is enduring. Even Leonard, Howard, Rajesh and other Otakus can go camping to observe meteor showers, not to mention the American youths who love to indulge and commit suicide in various movies and TV series. In the jungle near the tent, under a big tree, a pair of wild mandarin ducks were enjoying the freedom of using the sky as a blanket and the ground as a bed, and they were very grateful to God for giving them such a wonderful life. At the critical moment, a gunshot was heard. Then the fleeing deer rushed. "OMG, shit, shit, shit." The 2 screamed and ran out of the jungle. The man even ignored the woman. This may seem a bit exaggerated, but when you hear gunshots in the jungle, you should run as far as you can. This is the happy United States, and the man is African American, so he is more sensitive to gunshots. The probability of African Americans being shot in the United States is several times that of white people. If you run, you may be shot as a robber by a passerby who is brave. If you are really brave, you may be shot as a thug by the police who rush to the scene. If you stay at home, you may be shot as a thief by the police who take an extra flight of stairs to the wrong house. More importantly, it would be a waste of death. Maybe the family who received a huge compensation will hug the murderer and say with emotion, "I forgive you," and he will forgive you too. Tolerance is a virtue because this is what God wants him to do. Damn it, he didn't. Impossible. Don't talk nonsense. Life is not easy. Only by being vigilant enough can you live longer and breathe more of the sweet breath of freedom. Therefore, he ran faster. What happened? The people in the tent obviously also heard the gunshots and woke up from their deep sleep. They found that the person next to them was not there, so they hurried out. Ryan, Nikki, a man and a woman walked out of 2 tents respectively, calling their lovers. "Ryan is not here. Nikki is not here either." The 2 looked at each other, and there was a shadow in their hearts, but the man's eyes flashed a hint of realization, and then stared at the girl with burning eyes. The girl frowned unconsciously, turned sideways, and blocked the man's too presumptuous gaze. At this time, a chorus of "God, shit" came from men and women. The 2 looked in the direction of the sound and saw a man and a woman running towards them shouting for their lives. The man next to the tent suddenly showed a meaningful smile. Bang! The woman next to the tent waited until the African man Ryan ran to her side, raised her hand and slapped him. "Heather, what are you doing?" Ryan grabbed the woman's arm and shouted angrily. "What did I do?" Heather said angrily. "Look at what you and Nikki did." Ryan was shocked to realize that he was not wearing a shirt. He looked at Nikki sideways and found that she was even more disheveled. She didn't even know where her denim shorts were. With such obvious evidence, everyone knew what they had done. There was no way to clear their name. "Heather, I'm sorry." Nikki, the cheating best friend, apologized weakly. "We were impulsive." "Yes, We were just impulsive. This is the first time, I swear. Ryan swore and swore quickly. You are too much. Another man spoke up. Can't Heather and I satisfy you, let you do such a thing? David, brother, I'm sorry, Ryan said apologetically. He and David are good buddies. Heather and Nikki are good girlfriends, and David and Nikki were introduced by them. You just want excitement. David rolled his eyes and winked at Ryan. Ryan was stunned, then immediately understood what good buddy meant, and was furious. He was trying to exchange. What the hell? His girlfriend Heather's appearance and figure were both top-notch, especially her figure. She would wear a normal short-sleeved shirt as a belly-bearing one, which made every man who saw her feel dry throat and angry. Although Nikki was not bad, she was just coquettish, and she was not comparable to Heather. He was just trying something new and didn't care at all. Now this bastard David actually wanted to use this matter to get involved with Heather, and wanted his help. If it were any other time, he would have rushed up and punched David in the face. But now, we're done. Heather was angry at the betrayal of her boyfriend and bestie at the same time, and announced loudly. Ryan panicked and began to pester Heather to beg. He really loved her. After all, where could he find another girlfriend of this level? Unfortunately, after saying all kinds of men's routines over and over again, Heather still refused to forgive, just packed up her things and prepared to leave. Helplessly, seeing David raise the finger, Ryan could only nod his head in frustration, hoping that he would help persuade them. Heather, don't get excited. David came over and persuaded. I believe they were just impulsive. It's normal for young men and women. Let's give them another chance. Then he winked at Nikki. Heather, I was wrong. Nikki hugged Heather with tears in her eyes. We have been good sisters for so many years. I shouldn't let you down, but I really didn't mean it. You can punish me however you want. Just forgive me this time. Ryan thought of the fear of losing Heather, and knelt down at Heather's feet, hugged one of Heather's legs, and cried, "Get out!" Heather angrily wanted to push the couple away, but she couldn't. How about I give David to you this time? Nikki got a hint from David and made a seemingly fair and reasonable suggestion. We are even now and we will still be good sisters in the future. Heather widened her eyes and looked at her best friend in disbelief. She then looked down at her cheating boyfriend and saw him saying with a painful face, "As long as you are willing to forgive me, I have no objection. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Very fair," David said seriously, his eyes burning but terrifying. You guys. Heather suddenly became terrified. Chapter 127. Who is the dad? Lakeside. Give them a chance? David got closer and closer, grinning evilly. Give us a chance too. Go away. Heather screamed. Stop. Let go of that girl. A shout spread. Ryan and the others were startled, and when they turned around, they saw three young people, a man and two women, coming out of the jungle. What shocked them was that each of them had a gun. Oh, relax. Don't get me wrong. She's my girlfriend. Ryan, who was African American, was the first to stand up and raise his hands. We are just having a conflict. Don't be afraid of them, David said disdainfully. Do they dare to shoot? You're right. We don't dare to shoot. Do you see that we are pointing the gun at you? Juno smiled and said, but if you still don't let go of that girl, I will let Adam go over and beat you up. You know, he is a fighting elite. Adam's mouth twitched, and he looked at Juno speechlessly. Obviously, there are guns in hand to deter them. Why do you have to make it so complicated? Beat them? Fighting elite? Isn't this clearly making them fearless and violent? Juno smiled and pursed her lips at Adam, winking at him. Adam glanced at Heather standing there, and he understood what Juno meant. This was asking him to be a hero and save the beauty. Fighting elite? David looked at Adam, who was dressed to look thin, and laughed out loud. Come on, come and beat me up. Ryan also regained his composure, and the rebelliousness in his bones immediately came out. Thinking that it was Adam who was shooting and hunting just now that frightened them, exposed their good deeds, and caused Heather to break up with him, his anger kept bubbling out. Let's have a one-on-one fight if you have the guts. Go, go, go. Before Adam could say anything, Juno was already waving her hands and cheering. Let her go. We can live in peace with each other. Juno was not as stable as usual, but Adam tried to be as stable as possible and persuaded him kindly. Coward. David saw Heather, who was still held by Nikki, staring at Adam with her beautiful blue eyes, and suddenly felt sour and hateful, and spat at Adam. Well, there's no room for negotiation. 98% of the steady people couldn't stand it anymore. Adam handed the gun in his hand and the compound bow behind him to Juno, and motioned them to stay away to prevent the other party from losing their minds and trying to grab the gun. This girl is so beautiful, and the key is that she is a good person with capacity. Juno took the gun and bow, and whispered teasingly, "She has more capacity than Karen. You won't lose out in this wave of heroes saving the beauty. I always feel that you are more active than me." Adam rolled his eyes at her, muttered something, moved his hands and feet, and walked towards the other party. Being instigated by her like this, Adam was really moved. In fact, it was normal. First, Carolyn left and lost her regular output weapon. Then came Rachel's wave after wave of attacks. Although he decisively refused for the sake of the overall situation, he was not without feelings in his heart. After that, I came here and watched Karen swaying in front of me. I often felt dizzy. I ate venison and drank wine last night. You know, venison is nutritious. Ancient emperors like to eat it to give benefits to their harem. He is still a young man with an endurance of 480, with so many factors superimposed on him. Even if he is usually stable, he is a little restless now. Last warning, let her go. You two bastards. Ryan, teach him a lesson. David is an old hand at first glance. He scolded the most fiercely before. If he really wants to get serious, he will encourage others to go first. Let me teach you how to be a man. Ryan exerted a little force. He was full of muscles. He often lifted weights. As long as he didn't use a gun, he was very confident in his strength. Seeing Adam was still coming, he rushed over and punched Adam in the face. He hated this face. Adam was too lazy to dodge. He stretched out his hand and grabbed Ryan's fist. With a sudden force, he twisted Ryan's arm behind his back and pressed it slightly. Ryan knelt on the ground. Who's the uncle? No. Who's the boss? As far as Adam knows, African Americans have a traditional game, which is arm wrestling. Whoever twists the other's arm behind his back to control the other will then ask, "Who's the uncle?" If the other person answers, "You're the uncle," then it means that the other person admits defeat, and you will get all the rights to do whatever you want to the other person. Adam used this illusion, and then he realized that it was wrong. Whether it was a father or an uncle, Adam didn't want to be one. Ryan did call, but he called someone. "David, be careful," Heather reminded sharply. But David saw that Adam subdued Ryan so easily, and knew that he was no match for him, so he used a sneak attack directly. Adam had been waiting for him. He lowered his body and kicked him to the ground. He wanted to step on his head, but fearing an accident, he turned him over again and threatened, "Be quiet." David lay on the ground with his hands raised, saying, "Don't get excited, buddy, we're just joking." Adam didn't bother to pay attention to him. Seeing that he had subdued them, he looked at Nikki, who was still holding Heather. Nikki was startled and let go of Heather. Heather ran over with her things. "Asshole, we're done, completely done." Standing next to Juno, Heather let out a heavy breath, thinking of the dangerous scene just now, and cursed, "And Nikki, I really misjudged you." "Heather, I really didn't mean it." Nikki felt wronged. Cheating on her bestie's boyfriend is a common practice. She apologized? So why did she react so strongly? "You can get out now." Adam let go of Ryan and David. "Heather, I was wrong. I swear I won't touch you again. Come back with us." Ryan still didn't want to let go. "This place is far away from the town. You can't go back without a car. We'll take her there," Juno said with a smile. "Don't trust them," Ryan said anxiously. "God knows who they are. You don't know them at all." Heather hesitated for a moment, but after taking a look at Adam, Juno and Karen, she suppressed her hesitation and shook her head. "They are good people. It's safer for me to be with them than with you. Go away. I don't want to see you." "Ryan, let's go." She must have fallen for him. David rubbed his chest and said sarcastically. Nikki also pulled Ryan and whispered, "Let's go first and let Heather calm down. She will definitely come back." "Okay, Heather, we can go." Ryan looked painful, then glared at Adam fiercely. "But if you don't send Heather back before noon, I will definitely come back. Don't think you are the only ones with guns." After that, he packed up his things with David, Nikki and others and drove away. Chapter 128. Come, drink soup. Lakeside. Hi, let me introduce myself. My name is Juno. Her name is Karen, and his name is Adam. We are here for spring break. My name is Heather, and my home is in Hartford. Oh, that's great. You must be familiar with the scenery nearby. You can take us around. Of course, no problem. Why did you come here to hunt? We are high school classmates. Adam is at Columbia University and I am at Harvard. We are both going to take the medical school entrance exam and become doctors in the future. So we bought a cabin in the woods between New York and Boston. We can go on vacation and hunt while studying medicine in advance. So that's how it is. You are so thoughtful. I am a freshman at the City University of New York. I went home for spring break and didn't expect to encounter such a thing. Don't be sad. Anyone may encounter such a thing. It's a good thing to know their true face in advance. Yeah. Adam carried the female deer and walked in front, hearing Juno's words dispelling Heather's concerns. They were as good as two sisters, and the corners of his mouth twitched. When they arrived at the cabin in the woods, Adam and Juno entered the operating room again. Seeing Heather looking at her curiously, Juno, who was being helped by Karen to put on the surgical gown, smiled and said, "Heather, help Adam, like this." "Okay." Heather glanced at Adam, lowered her head and walked over, imitating Karen, helping Adam tie the belt of the surgical gown. Juno winked at Adam playfully. Adam rolled his eyes at her unhappily, but was still quite touched in his heart. Juno obviously still remembered that Adam wanted Karen to help him tie his belt yesterday, but Karen ignored him. This sister, no words. "It will be a little bloody later, Heather. Do you need to go out first?" Adam spoke. "It's not good to always let Juno take care of it. Since you're moved, then take action." "No need." Heather smiled and said, "My parents run a small slaughterhouse. I've been used to it since I was a child. Until now, I still work part-time at the meat counter in the supermarket during the summer vacation to help process meat products." "Really? That's great." Juno smiled and said, "No wonder I felt that you fit in well with Aurora before. Then let's exchange experiences later." Adam also smiled and said, "This is our first time to come here to hunt. We only read books and imitated the dissection. With your help, we will definitely gain a lot." "I'll try my best." Heather smiled shyly. "It's your turn to make the first cut today." Juno gestured with her hand. Adam nodded and did not refuse, and made the first cut. After that, there was another academic discussion. Karen went to prepare the barbecue as usual, and Heather joined in. Once an expert makes a move, you can tell whether it is good or not. Heather not only shared her experience in dissection that was different from Adam's reading books, but also demonstrated it herself. As they talked and laughed, the relationship between the three of them became more and more harmonious. "Can I leave a bone?" Heather even said such a thing. Adam and Juno looked at her curiously. "This is a little habit of mine," Heather said shyly. "Every time I process meat, I will leave a bone as a souvenir." "Is it a bit weird to use them to make bone paintings?" "Of course not." Juno smiled and said, "Please, look at what we are doing." Adam also smiled and said, "A famous detective in the East once said that there is only one truth, and bones are the only evidence that a creature has existed in the world. You leave them as a souvenir and also preserve the traces of their existence." "It's nothing." He vaguely remembered that in both Eastern and Western film and television dramas, there were female protagonists nicknamed Bones. Heather smiled happily. At this time, the fragrance floated in again. "It's almost time. Let's go out for dinner first," Adam reminded. "Don't worry. I asked Karen to stew the soup." Juno smiled. "Soup?" Adam was stunned. Then his eyes widened, and he winked at Juno repeatedly, meaning, "Are you serious?" Juno ignored him and smiled at Heather and asked, "Venison soup is very nutritious, Heather. Can you drink it?" "Of course." Heather nodded, indicating that she had no dietary taboos. The three of them studied and discussed for a long time until Karen came in and called them. They finished, cleaned up, and sat at the dining table. Heather looked at the exquisite plates and expensive red wine, and felt quite restrained. Juno began to assist again. "These, including this cabin in the woods, were all bought by Adam, and Karen and I just benefited from it." "Adam's family is very rich?" Heather envied. "No." Juno smiled and said, Adam's family is average, and this is all earned by writing books when he was in college. Wow, Heather exclaimed immediately, looking at Adam with a look of admiration and respect. Adam, you are amazing. In the United States, being able to make money is the greatest virtue, and it's not a joke. Juno winked at Adam with pride. Since ancient times, deep affection cannot be retained, only routines can win people's hearts. Although the hero saving the beauty is old-fashioned, it is Adam's righteous face, with golden virtues, plus her assists, taking advantage of the opportunity. It is strange that Heather did not react. The four of them enjoyed delicious food and wine, talking and laughing. It was mainly Adam and Heather who flirted. Juno assisted. Karen still didn't speak, but puffed her face throughout the whole process. Boom. A thunderous sound. The sky began to rain. Adam couldn't help but look at Karen, and sighed in his heart, what a magical tool. But he quickly came back to his senses and continued to flirt with Heather. As Juno said, although Karen is magical and has a lot of capacity, she is obviously inferior to Heather. Adam is a vulgar person, like all human beings. He only pursues one word in his life. Everything else doesn't matter. It's raining. Heather, how about you stay tonight? Juno's assist came again. Heather hesitated. Forget it. Let's send her back. Adam frowned and said, her ex-boyfriend said something harsh. He might really come with a gun. There's no need for us to have a conflict with him. Let's wait until Heather breaks up with him. Then we can invite her again. I've broken up with him completely. Heather said quickly, when I go back, I can either go to his place or go home, and I don't like either. I'm grateful that you took me in. Don't have a good relationship with your family? Juno smiled. Yeah, Heather nodded. I don't know what's going on. I've always felt like there's something between me and them since I was a kid. If it weren't for Ryan, I would have stayed in New York and never come back. Then stay. Juno smiled playfully. Play with us these few days, and then you can go back to New York with Adam. Perfect. Seeing Adam frown, Juno explained, don't worry about Ryan. He just said harsh words. He wouldn't dare. Yes, Heather agreed. He hasn't even learned to shoot. Right. Juno shrugged. So don't worry. Come, Heather, drink the soup. Thank you. Heather took it happily. Adam? Juno handed the soup that Karen had served to Adam again. Adam and her looked at each other and understood each other's meaning. The choice is yours. Do you want to drink this soup or not? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 129 Night Talk. Cabin in the Woods. To drink or not to drink? This is the question. After looking at Heather, Adam decisively took the soup bowl and drank it in big gulps. Juno gave him a look that said, I knew you would do this. Adam ignored it. It's just a bowl of tonic soup. As long as he doesn't want to, can he really do anything to him? Then his concentration and stability will become a joke. Thinking of this, Adam handed the bowl to Juno. Another bowl, just to prove his concentration. He also wanted to drink a lot. Adam Liuxiahui Duncan. As long as he didn't meet Eve, who would he be afraid of? After that, Adam seemed to have turned into a Liangshan hero, eating meat and drinking soup in big bowls. Outside the house, there were thunder and showers. The four of them ate and chatted, and time came to the afternoon in a flash. Adam, Juno, and Heather went into the operating room again to continue their research, until the evening. Ryan, who had said harsh words, never showed up. It was another feast of fine wine and delicious food. After eating, Juno took Karen into the bedroom and gave the living room to Adam and Heather. What kind of movie do you like to watch? Adam naturally saw the ambiguous look in Juno's eyes before she left, and even knew that Heather had seen it too, but he still pretended not to know and chose to watch a movie as usual. Whatever. Heather's face was a little red. The nourishing effect of venison is not limited to men. Not to mention the after effect of red wine. Even if she had a premonition, she didn't want to think too much about it in front of such an excellent Adam, and everything would come naturally. Then let's watch a horror movie. Adam smiled. Seeing Heather nod, He went to pick out a classic Texas Chainsaw Massacre released in 1990. Unlike the atmosphere in Asia, which is scary, the classic horror movies in the United States are all blood-spurting, and the more violent, the more marketable. Texas? Heather looked at the title and said casually, "My hometown is over there." Huh? Adam couldn't help but ask curiously, "Isn't your home here?" "My parents moved here later," Heather smiled, "so I have almost no impression of it." "Then I'll take you there to play when I have time." Adam smiled. "I'm also from Texas, and I live in Galveston." "Really?" Heather was surprised and said, "Then we are still from the same hometown." "Yes," Adam teased. "Speaking of which, we are really destined to be together." Heather's face was red, thinking that it was Adam who saved her today. Otherwise God knows what would have happened. Her beautiful blue eyes looked at Adam with a little confusion. Adam's heart moved, and he decisively moved over. At this moment, a scream. The movie started. The atmosphere was interrupted immediately, and the two looked away from each other and looked at the video recorder. The movie is very cliché. It's the same decades later. That is, several young men and women from the United States who wanted to travel happily drove their RVs into the desert town of Travis, Texas. This place is adjacent to Mexico, and the real purpose of this group of young men and women is to go to Mexico to purchase drugs. On the way, they met a girl who was covered with bruises and lost her soul and asked them for help. The Virgin Mary's heroine of course chose to help, and she had to find out the truth and get justice for the girl. So, they entered a big house in the wilderness, regardless of the gloomy and terrifying atmosphere inside, and broke in directly, and then they encountered a terrifying chainsaw killer, who dragged them into the basement one by one and brutally killed them. Of course, the heroine still escaped in the end, but it was only the heroine, and the other companions all paid for the heroine's curiosity and death. In Adam's opinion, the horror movie was very ordinary and not exciting enough, but it caused Heather to exclaim again and again, constantly approaching Adam, and finally hiding directly in Adam's arms. It's not nonsense to watch horror movies with your girlfriend. Adam is not a novice, so he naturally knows how to seize opportunities. After a comprehensive comfort from inside to outside, Adam smiled and said, "Girls must protect themselves when they go out. If she is cautious enough and has fighting power and courage, in fact, even if she encounters such a thing, the chances of protecting herself and even her companions are very high." "Juno and Karen must be such girls," Heather murmured. "Yeah," Adam said meaningfully, "you can also become a girl like them, and I can help you." "How to help?" Heather looked up at Adam, her eyes full of expectations. Obviously she knew how Adam would help her. "Of course, more training," Adam teased. "The first step is to teach you close combat, and the rest will be discussed later." Heather naturally followed his instructions. Everything came naturally. So, the two entered the bedroom and started close combat training. There is a famous saying in Lao Bei and Wulan Wei's Yuan, in martial arts training, physical contact is very normal, not to mention hand touching hand and foot touching foot, even face to face and mouth to mouth are all there. Otherwise how did Yango and Zilong New hook up? So it's all basic exercises, no sex. Late at night, Heather was tired from training and fell asleep. Adam was still full of energy, thinking of the harsh words from Heather's ex-boyfriend Ryan. He felt a little uneasy in his heart, and also blamed Juno for being nosy. Then he smiled dumbly. This man has the Holy Buddha thinking. But he still got up, picked up the rifle, loaded it, and walked out of the bedroom. It's better to be steady and keep watch. "Are you done with this?" Unexpectedly, when he came out, he saw Juno sitting in a dark corner, looking at the door sideways, winking at him, and there was a rifle at his feet. "You've been here all the time?" Adam was quite shocked. "Let me see. 2 hours and 33 minutes. Juno looked at her watch and said teasingly, "You have great stamina, and it's getting better and better. How are you? Are you satisfied with Heather?" "Don't blame me for being nosy, right?" "Of course." "Why not?" Adam suppressed his emotion, walked to Juno's side, sat down, and complained, "I'm not that greedy. As long as I want, I can pick up girls in minutes. The most important thing is that this is not like your style at all." "My style? What style do I have?" Juno rolled her eyes at Adam, who was taking advantage of others, and asked with a smile. "Steady," Adam said as a matter of course, "even if you can see that Ryan is not the kind of courageous person, and he doesn't have the address here, so it's hard to find him, but it's still a bit risky after all. So when you entered the bedroom, I came out with this." Juno smiled and patted the rifle at his feet. "Why?" Adam said seriously. "Why?" Juno muttered, and then understood what Adam meant. After a moment of silence, she smiled and said, "You like her, I like her too, and the risk is not big. Isn't that enough?" Adam. Chapter 130. I forgive you. The next morning, when Karen got up and saw Juno leaning against Adam and sleeping soundly, she glared at Adam. Adam spread his hands innocently. They were just keeping watch last night. After chatting for most of the night, Juno didn't have Adam's endurance and began to feel sleepy. Adam persuaded her to go back to the bedroom to sleep. She refused. Adam had no choice but to cover her with a blanket and let her sleep on him. He didn't sleep all night and has been keeping watch until now. The man's previous saintly thinking had long disappeared when he saw Juno guarding there with a gun. There was only touching in his heart and complaining. And he was very fortunate that after experiencing the incident of the legal bloodthirsty Lily in the hospital, he woke up in time, eliminated the ridiculous fear of Juno and Karen, and gained the friendship recognized by the system. Otherwise, even if Adam didn't hide from Juno and Karen, he wouldn't take the initiative to invite them. Naturally, there would be no deeper understanding of Juno and full of touching. This also made Adam feel deeply touched. In the past, whether it was Sheldon, Leonard, Ted and Matthew, or the 6 old friends, it seemed that he had established friendships with them and even received systematic recognition. But this kind of friendship has always been floating in the sky, and there is no sense of being down to earth. Because Adam is a time traveler, when he gets along with people, he subconsciously looks down and scrutinizes them, so he can't perfectly integrate into them. Now, he feels that he should be more involved. Because feelings are relative, the more you invest, the more the other person will give back. This is his life, not an American drama or a novel. There is no strategy game, there is only daily life. When you always treat it as a game, sooner or later you will be overturned by it. And at that time, you will find that you have no chance to save or even start over. Karen stepped forward, picked up Juno together with the blanket, and sent him back to the bedroom amid Juno's complaints. Adam also put away the rifle, went to the bedroom, and saw Heather still sleeping with a smile on her face, and did not wake her up, and turned out of the bedroom. After Karen settled Juno, she started to make breakfast. "I'll help you." Adam set his action target after the first touch on Karen, so he started a conversation. "No need." Karen refused as usual. "Juno and I were just keeping watch last night. Nothing." Adam was not discouraged and said with a smile, "I know." Karen glanced at Adam. Adam's mouth twitched, and he understood what she meant. It was clearly saying, "If not, how could you still stand here?" "So, you and Juno, huh?" Adam suppressed the complaints in his heart and continued to work hard. "What?" Karen, in contrast to her gentle and quiet demeanor when she was with Juno, said sharply, "I've already told you everything you want to know at the high school graduation dance. As for the rest, there's nothing much to say between you and me." I know. Adam smiled bitterly. "Juno is my good sister, and you are also my friend. I'm optimistic about you, and I don't mean anything else." Karen looked at Adam carefully again and nodded. "You are Juno's good friend, which means you are also my friend." "I forgive you." "Forgive me?" Adam was stunned. "Jennifer," Karen reminded. Oh. Adam's mind immediately popped up sunset, mountainside, Transformers, and when he thought of the relationship between Jennifer and Karen, he suddenly realized it. No wonder she was so cold to him even though they were friends, and even had some hostility. It turned out that Karen had always remembered something about Adam. Sure enough, only by investing more in the relationship can you get more responses. Growing up, Juno has not had many friends. "You are the only one." Karen motioned to Adam to come forward to help. While making breakfast, she whispered, "Juno is very relaxed and happy with you." "When she is happy, I am happy too, so I hope you can always make her happy." "Don't worry," Adam said solemnly. Karen nodded, and for the first time she smiled at Adam. The amazed Adam was a little absent-minded. "Is Heather not good enough for you?" Karen put away her smile, and her tone was a little cold and sour. "Didn't Juno say that her figure is better than mine? You should know it best." "Haha." Adam laughed dryly. "It's different. It's different." Karen looked at Adam with contempt. "What's the difference?" "One was measured by hand, and the other could only be measured by sight. So, Juno and I are both going to be doctors in the future." Adam quickly changed the subject. "Karen, what are your plans?" "My first choice is to be a chef." Karen thought for a moment and said, "My second choice is to be a nurse." "Why not a weather forecaster?" Adam blurted out. "You are too talented." "You want me to weigh it on TV with my conscience?" Karen sneered. "No," Adam quickly denied. "You can prepare it at home in advance and tell the audience the results." "I'm not interested." Karen shook her head and said, "I'm not short of money, and I won't be a full-time chef. I just want to make delicious food for Juno and have time to take care of her. Being a nurse can help Juno and become her assistant in her career." Adam was speechless for a long time, and sighed. "You are so good to Juno. You only care about her." "Isn't this normal?" Karen looked at Adam in confusion. Adam lowered his head in shame. This made him more certain of Jennifer's definition of Karen. Karen is crazy, because only lunatics and geniuses can be particularly focused. Once they are determined to do something, they will devote themselves to it. For example, Sheldon, he is all about science, and he has no idea of taking a vacation, so he has accumulated too many vacations. Later, the school had to enforce it and not let him enter the school. Penny felt that her acting career was not going well because she was still working part-time as a waitress and was not focused enough. She resigned without discussing it with Leonard. Leonard said he supported her, but he complained whenever he had the chance, saying that she shouldn't waste her savings without working before she was sure. This is indeed a sincere and serious statement. But Sheldon truly agrees with and supports Penny's approach, because he chose theoretical physics in the same way at the beginning, not leaving himself a way out, and being more focused can achieve greater success. He has been doing this all along. Karen is obviously not a genius, otherwise the system would prompt. Then she who is so focused on Juno can only be a lunatic. But why did Adam feel that he was being stared at by such a madman? His biggest feeling was not fear for Juno, but rather a little envy of Juno. P.S. Thanks to Batman Joker and R_Fangbao for the reward. Chapter 131. Just show off. It was already past noon when Heather and Juno lazily got up. Karen quickly brought the breakfast that had been prepared long ago. "Adam, didn't you take a nap?" "I'm not sleepy at all." No. Juno ate breakfast while praising, "You have really good physical strength. You don't look like a human being, but you are really suitable for the profession of doctor." 996 is a real blessing during the internship period. 007 is the code name for interns. On the one hand, they are almost guarding the hospital 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. On the other hand, because they are novices, many people have a certain probability that the patient will die in their hands when they encounter an emergency or go to the operating table. Like 007, they have a legal license to kill. Heather's face suddenly turned red. No one knows this better than her. She always feels that Juno is teasing her. "Go get your things back in the morning?" Adam raised his eyebrows at Heather. "Yeah." Heather blushed and said, "Everything else is fine. It doesn't matter whether it's there or not. But my bone painting is the result of my many years of hard work. I want to get it back." "Don't worry." Adam smiled and said, "We'll go together later and get all your things back. Nothing will be missing." "Yes." Juno smiled playfully and said, "Even if we're not here, you're not afraid anymore. After all, you and Adam have learned martial arts and grappling all night, and your fighting ability is no longer comparable to what it was before." "Ah!" Heather exclaimed. "Juno," Adam called out. "Okay." Juno shrugged and said, "Heather, don't mind it. I was just joking with you." "I know," Heather said embarrassedly. "It's okay. I was just too forgetful last night." "I understand." Juno smiled. Adam couldn't help but glance at her. Seeing Heather put aside her embarrassment and happily chat with Juno again, Adam focused on himself because he realized that something was wrong with him. He used to be energetic, but he definitely hadn't fought for 2.5 hours at high intensity. After a night of vigil, he was still energetic and not sleepy at all. So, after a long time, he summoned the broken system again. Since his wisdom broke through 140, he entered Columbia University and achieved financial freedom, and he has been on the planned path all the way. In the next 3 years, he got his bachelor's degree step by step. Then he prepared for the medical school, 2 years of theory, 2 years of medical student rotation, and obtained a doctorate in medicine. Apply for hospital internship, 1 year of intern, 5 to 6 years of residency, and then pass the exam to become an attending physician. At that time, he will do more operations, extend his life, become famous, compete for the director of surgery, obtain more patient resources, do more operations, extend more life, become more famous, and then compete for the dean, which is another virtuous circle. The college period is a necessary transition. Although his wisdom has reached the level of genius, he cannot compress the 4 years of college. Because he also studied psychology, it is related to whether he can live more safely in this world. You know, Sheldon, a super genius with an IQ of 187, went to college at the age of 11 and graduated at the age of 14, which took him 3 years. Counting that he started going to college at the age of 10, it took almost 4 years. These planned routes are very clear and the system's attributes will not change drastically in a short period of time, so he has not paid attention to the changes in the system for a long time. System, display the attribute panel. Wisdom, 146.05, normal 100, 120 excellent, 140 genius, 180 super genius, initial value 108. Juno's contribution, +1 + 0.005 times 365 times 4 + 0.004 times 300 times 1 equals 9.5. Sheldon's contribution, +5 + 0.005 times 365 times 4 + 0.004 times 300 times 1 equals 13.5. Peggy's contribution, +6 + 0.005 times 365 times 2 + 0.004 times 300 times 1 equals 10.85. Leonard's contribution, +3 + 0.004 times 300 times 1 equals 4.2. After crossing the 140 mark of genius, the wisdom points provided by Juno, Sheldon and others every day decreased from 0.005 points to 0.004 points. It is normal to think about it. Wisdom cannot grow indefinitely. When you are close to red or black, you will be influenced by others less and less. Strength, 400, normal 100, 200 strong, 500 super strong, 1000 not human. Initial value, 80. Duncan family and Emmett's contribution, 100. The contribution of the 6 old friends, 20 times 6 equals 120. Leonard's contribution, 20. Juno and Karen's contribution, 20 times 2 equals 40. Caroline's contribution, 20. Heather's contribution, 20. His strength suddenly increased to 400 without him noticing, close to the super strong 500. No wonder it was so easy for him to deal with Ryan and David. The 6 old friends alone provided him with 120 points, which was above the average strength of a normal person. Endurance, 500, normal 100, 200 excellent, 500 is just a show, 1000 is not a human. When Adam saw the attribute value of endurance, he was surprised at first and then showed a look of sudden realization. This is a breakthrough, and it has truly reached the level of just a show. No wonder he didn't feel tired even if he didn't sleep for a night after a high-intensity battle. But he still couldn't figure out why his endurance attribute suddenly broke through. But even the time travel happened to him, so it was not surprising. He didn't want to think too much about things he couldn't figure out. Otherwise, what if he couldn't figure it out even if he thought about it until he was bald? So why bother? There are too many unsolved mysteries in the world. Speed, 180, normal 100, 200 excellent, 500 is just a show, 1000 is not a human. Speed includes agility, which is also a very important attribute. It can be seen from the fact that Adam's anatomical suture is obviously faster than Juno. During the operation, a hand that is stable and fast enough directly determines a person's life or death. Unfortunately, since the strength of various attributes, plus the study of psychology, grappling, firearms and bows, etc., his mentality has continued to grow stronger with the explosive improvement of his strength. Now if he meets his ex-girlfriend Amazing Amy again, he will never feel afraid, because once he senses that she intends to attack him, he will definitely counterattack reasonably and legally at the first time. In addition, he has not encountered any scary little girls recently, so it is difficult to improve the speed attribute. This is also the only attribute among the 4 basic attributes that has not broken through any level. He is really looking forward to what it will feel like after breaking through the excellent speed, or after the speed exceeds 500 and reaches the level of being a show-off. Will there be any ban or something like that? Lifespan 35.07, died young, normal 80, 100 excellent, 150 is a show-off, 200 is not a human. Adam is now 19, and he still has 3 years of college, 4 years of medical school, 1 year of internship, and 5 to 6 years of residency, which means that when he becomes an attending physician smoothly, he will be 32 to 33 years old, which is very close to the limit of lifespan. However, after becoming an intern, as long as the level is sufficient, theoretically he can start to treat diseases and save lives. So when Adam is 26 years old, the speed of the lifespan attribute will slow down a lot, and it will be slower and slower, until it starts to increase instead of decrease. Therefore, time is not too tight. Of course, the premise is that everything goes well. This requires him to work hard to eliminate obstacles on the road ahead. Now it seems that there are no big problems. Chapter 132 Mermaid. After breakfast, the 4 of them set off for Hartford. Heather and I will go up. When they arrived, Juno took the initiative to suggest, so as not to irritate him. You are still worried about this, Adam said with a smile. Can it be the same before and now? Juno gave him a small look. Adam was speechless. I'll follow you to the stairs. Call me if you need anything. Adam decided to play it safe. Juno's fighting ability is not bad, but it is also relative. The reason why she was able to knock him down with the deadly scissor kick of the Black Widow was that it was sudden and Adam was not serious. The effect of the real enemy has not been tested yet. Okay, Juno did not refuse. Except for the inexplicable middle school yesterday, she has always been very stable and naturally would not refuse such a safety measure. Karen, stay in the car and don't turn off the engine. Heather was shocked and speechless when she saw this scene. After a while, she said weakly, don't be so exaggerated. You look like a tactical team with clear division of labor in movies and TV shows. Or maybe a professional robber team. Juno joked. Go early and come back early, Adam reminded. Juno and Heather went in and went up to the 2nd floor. Adam stood at the stairs, listening to the movement inside with his keen hearing. Seeing that there was no conflict, he waited quietly. A few minutes later, Juno and Heather came down with 2 boxes and a suitcase. Ryan stood on the 2nd floor with a complicated expression and looked at Adam. Next to him stood Heather's best friend Nikki. Adam's heart moved, and he had guessed why there was no movement yesterday. Back in the car, on the way back to the cabin in the woods, Adam asked, and the answers of Heather and Juno also confirmed his guess. Ryan didn't make any move because he wasn't a violent person. He didn't have any problem saying some harsh words when he was in pain, but he didn't have the courage to really do anything. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been so scared that he ran away when he heard the gunshots at the beginning, and then he was so scared that he raised his hands and surrendered when he faced Adam and his friends with guns in their hands. He dared to fight, but he was no match for Adam. In addition, it was normal for young men and women in the United States to break up and get back together. Heather made it clear that they were finished. After returning, Nikki comforted her. After vending, the remaining blood was completely swallowed up. In the state of Saint Buddha, he chose to forgive. The barefoot are not afraid of the shoes. With Nikki around, Ryan was obviously not a barefoot person. As for David, he was a person who always followed his heart. Therefore, there was this peaceful breakup. Shall we train in the afternoon? Adam intended to improve Heather's combat effectiveness. In this world full of unknowns and dangers, once you encounter danger, it is safest to rely on yourself. Okay. Juno was eager to try. I also want to see how you practiced this semester. Haha. Adam laughed. I hope you won't be surprised then. I know you're good. At worst, we 3 can beat you 1. Juno teased. I can beat 10. Adam shot back. Heather looked at this scene with a smile, feeling very warm and looking forward to the afternoon exercise. As someone who has really encountered danger, how could she refuse to increase her self-protection ability? In the afternoon, the 4 of them started to exercise on the flat ground outside the cabin. Juno mainly taught Heather, and Adam served as a target. After 2 hours of practice, Juno challenged Adam. This time, Adam, who had thoroughly mastered the power fighting skills, easily crushed Juno. When Juno's Black Widow-style deadly scissor kick rushed up, Adam directly hugged and rotated to remove Juno's inertia, then lifted her with both arms and turned from an inverted dragonfly to an upright dragonfly, and finally hugged and killed. Juno couldn't move, so she had to admit defeat. Unwilling to give up, she teamed up with Karen and Heather, 3 against 1, but was still easily dealt with by Adam, which made her completely lose her temper except for shouting pervert. After that, she began to teach Heather shooting, and this time Adam taught her step by step. Gun shooting is not only a romance for men, but also a good tool for women with inherently weak strength to defeat the strong. In The Big Bang Theory, Penny likes to play with guns and took Leonard to a shooting club. As a result, when Leonard wanted to pretend that he had played shooting in the game so there was no problem at all, he accidentally fired and injured his foot. Fortunately, the bullet rubbed against the shoe and only scratched the little toe, which was covered with a band-aid. Otherwise, Leonard, who was in so much pain, would definitely not be in the mood to continue bragging to Penny that he was also a big shot. Even many women are gun geeks. For example, in How I Met Your Mother, Robin, deputy director of SHIELD, Hill, is a typical example. Whenever she was in a bad mood, she would go to the shooting club and shoot like crazy. There were all kinds of guns at home. Heather didn't feel good about shooting, and even didn't like it a little, because the recoil in her body made her more vulnerable to injury than others. Adam couldn't do anything about this. In the end, Karen stepped forward and taught her some special little experiences she had learned. In the afternoon, the 4 of them were sweating profusely. Let's go take a bath in the lake, Heather suggested. Okay, Juno agreed. Adam thought about it and nodded. Galveston is close to the sea, and Adam and the other 2 can swim. Since Heather suggested it, she obviously can too. Although the cabin in the woods has a shower system, it is not as fun as playing in the lake. And the lotus emerging from the water is one of the most beautiful scenery in the world, and Adam doesn't want to miss it. Adam and Juno took their guns, Karen and Heather took their swimsuits, and the 4 of them set off for the lake. After arriving, you go down and take a bath first. I'll watch. Adam smiled. Then you better be more alert. Juno teased. Don't focus all your attention on us. Adam didn't refute, just smiled and said, I'll try. Juno laughed and scolded a few times. While Adam turned around, the 3 of them changed into swimsuits. Heather took a quick step and rushed directly into the lake, as agile as a mermaid. Wow, Heather, you are not a professional swimmer, are you? Juno and Karen followed, and saw Heather swimming around them quickly, and exclaimed, No. Heather laughed happily. It's just that I have always liked swimming. I used to think about being a beach lifeguard. Adam had turned his head at this moment. When he saw Heather in the water, his eyes lit up and he thought to himself, if this is going to participate in Chandler and Joey's favorite variety show Baywatch, then the 2 of them will probably never leave the TV. No, I must train Heather more when I go back tonight, and the fighting environment is set in the rain. Chapter 133 The Joy of This Place. In the lake, 3 mermaids were playing in the water. Adam stood on the shore, holding a steel gun, on guard. Juno played for a while, took the initiative to go ashore, changed clothes, and took over Adam's shift. Karen followed. Adam did not refuse, and rushed into the lake wearing a pair of shorts. This time, Heather began to teach him swimming skills. Adam's physical fitness was there, and he learned everything very quickly. He dived into the water and could hold his breath for a long time, playing with Heather in the water. Soon, Heather, who was as smart as a mermaid, could not keep up with Adam's pace, and she kept complaining to Adam, who was swimming around her. If the second brother saw this, he would be envious to death. Why did he get scolded by 7 spider spirits for doing the same thing, while Adam got a touching scolding? Discrimination. This is definitely discrimination. After playing for a long time, Adam ended it with a sense of unsatisfaction amid Juno's laughter and scolding. The 4 of them laughed and returned to the cabin in the woods. The next few days, Adam and his friends hunted, dissected and sutured in the morning, practiced combat shooting in the afternoon, swam in the evening, chatted, watched movies, and practiced more in the evening. The daily life of the department was so happy. It was true that they enjoyed themselves so much that they would never miss home. In the meantime, Heather also took the 3 of them to visit nearby attractions. Traveling is all about mood. Traveling with a group of beautiful women is naturally one of the most wonderful things in the world. If Adam were single, it would instantly become the most tragic thing in the world. The transition between beauty and tragedy is often lacking one person. The last day of spring break. Sunday. Early morning, Adam and his 4 friends got up early, successfully hunted a deer, quickly dissected it, divided the venison into 3 portions, put it in the freezer, and loaded it into the off-road vehicle. The gifts had been packed last night. Adam took Heather, Juno took Karen, and the 2 cars drove out of the cabin in the woods. They broke up in Hartford. Juno and Karen went north to Boston, and Adam and Heather went south to New York. In the car, "You have so many friends." Heather couldn't help but feel envious when she heard Adam talking about the arrangement of the venison. Adam divided the venison into 3 portions, one for Monica and her family, one for the Green family, and the other for Leonard's family. It should have been divided into 5 portions. The other 2 portions, one for Ted, Matthew and Lily, and one for Peggy. But Matthew and his family were still students and lived in the dormitory, so they couldn't handle the venison. So Adam counted their portion to Monica, and planned to let Monica handle it and then send it directly to Matthew and his family to try it. As for Peggy, he wanted to send it, and he knew the address, but he couldn't go to her house, because Peggy was just a 13-year-old girl, and her mother was divorced. Adam felt a little weird when he went to her house alone to deliver venison. Don't be seen as a weird brother or a weird uncle, that would be bad. And after all, the relationship between him and Peggy was based on the fact that they were mutual friends of little Sheldon. What impressed Adam the most was that when he tried his best to comfort the sad Peggy, and told her that she needed friends and he could be her friend, Peggy didn't even look at him, but only looked at the confused little Sheldon. For Peggy, the little Sheldon with a similar IQ was her kind and friend. As for Adam, he was just an appendage of little Sheldon. Although Adam's IQ has now increased to 146, it is a whole level lower than Sheldon's 187, and there is still a long way to go, not to mention Peggy, whose IQ is still higher than Sheldon's, as determined by the system. If you try to deal with Peggy before you reach that level, it is completely self-humiliating. Peggy is not as cute as Sheldon, who can be moved by train toys and comic novels. Her pride and indifference are real and clear. What she values most is the exchange of wisdom. How can she pay attention to you if you don't even understand what she says? Fortunately, thanks to little Sheldon, Adam's performance at the time barely won some recognition from Peggy, making Peggy a strong growth point for Adam's wisdom. Even if they don't meet or contact each other now, with Sheldon as a transit station, his relationship with Peggy has never been broken, and Peggy has always contributed wisdom to Adam. In the future, Adam's wisdom will always surpass theirs. What will Peggy be like at that time? Adam said he was looking forward to it. Friends of friends are also friends, so my friends can also be your friends in the future. Adam smiled and said, "They are all very good people. You will definitely like them, I believe." Heather nodded expectantly. Although she was betrayed by her ex-boyfriend and bestie, the appearance of Adam and Juno, seamlessly connected, instantly dispelled this sadness and anger. So at this moment, she didn't have many scars in her heart, and was still full of expectations and imagination for friendship and love. A 2-hour drive. The car has arrived in New York. Adam first sent Heather to the City University of New York, then he returned to the apartment, locked up the guns and ammunition, and then went to apartment 520 and gave the largest portion that had been divided in advance to Monica. "Wow, we have a big dinner tonight." Joey was the first to cheer. "By the way, how is your love life recently?" Adam thought of something and asked hurriedly. "Not bad." "Just like that. Why do you ask?" Everyone was puzzled. "Deer meat is very nutritious." Adam smiled playfully. "If you have a partner, then eat more. If not, then eat less. Otherwise it is easy to get angry, damn it." Chandler mocked. "Singles are despised even for eating meat." "That's not right." Rachel keenly noticed the problem. "I remember you said you went hunting with Juno and Karen. You must have eaten a lot of venison. How did you solve the problem of getting angry?" "Wow, something happened." "Tell the truth. Speak quickly." "Is it Juno? Or Karen? Or Tilda?" Monica and others heard it. Their eyes lit up, and they gathered around to gossip. "You think too much." Adam smiled and said, "Juno, Karen and I are innocent. We are just pure friends. It doesn't matter if I have eaten venison for several days. It's because I have just met a good friend." "Good friend?" everyone shouted in unison. They all knew what kind of existence Adam's good friend was. When Adam told him about Heather, Ross, Chandler and Joey were simply envious and jealous. "You must take us there next time. We also want to have a banquet," the three shouted. At this time, Phoebe pushed the door open. "What are you all talking about? So happy?" "Ah, Adam is back." "Nothing." Adam winked at Monica and asked Monica to leave some for him to give away tomorrow. Amid Phoebe's exclamation and blame, "Lulu is so cute. You actually killed her." Adam ran away. Chapter 134, Leonard's Surprise. Long Island, New York. Beep. Adam rang the doorbell of the Green family villa. "Who is it?" "Hello, Mrs. Green. I'm Adam Duncan." "Oh, it's Adam." The door was opened, and a well-maintained middle-aged woman said with a smile, "Please come in." In the United States, it is very rude to visit without an appointment. Adam would naturally not make this mistake. Last night, he went to Hartford to call Leonard and Leonard respectively to confirm the itinerary of the visit. "Mrs. Green, just call me Sandra." Rachel's mother was very kind. "Sandra, I went hunting during the spring break before. This is the venison I just hunted today. It's very fresh, so I thought of sending it to you to taste." Adam smiled as he looked at the house. This is a proper villa, and the decoration is also very luxurious. No wonder Amy, the second daughter of the Green family, went to Ross's apartment later and looked disgusted. "There is no one on the second floor, and there are only 2 rooms. How can I ensure privacy when I call?" "You are so nice." Sandra took the specially packed box and put it in her own freezer. She looked at Adam carefully and praised him. "I have always heard Leonard and Rachel mention it. Now I finally meet you. Stay for dinner tonight?" "No." Adam declined. "I have something else to do. I have already made an appointment with others. I will definitely come to disturb you next time. I am looking forward to your cooking skills." "You are Adam." At this time, a girl of about 14 or 15 appeared on the second floor, looking down arrogantly. "Hi, I am Adam. You must be Jill, right?" Adam looked up and greeted with a smile. "Hi Jill." The youngest daughter of the Green family, saw Adam looking up and showing a righteous face. Her arrogance immediately disappeared. She went downstairs and walked up to him, staring at Adam in surprise. "Jill," Sandra yelled in a scolding tone, "don't be so rude." "What's wrong?" Jill wasn't afraid of her mother, and she said to herself, "Adam, do you have a girlfriend?" "I guess so." Adam was afraid that Jill would recommend herself, so he quickly stopped her from talking. "Yes, yes, no, no. What do you mean by yes?" Jill snorted in dissatisfaction. "Ah, I see, you must have an Italian comrade, right?" Adam's mouth twitched, and he was speechless. American girls are really precocious. They know everything. "Okay, I'll just pretend you don't have one. I can be your girlfriend." Jill smiled and said, "How is it? Are you happy?" Adam was speechless. "Happy? What the hell? I even rejected your most beautiful elder sister Rachel, let alone you." "Jill." Sandra was a little angry. This arrogant little daughter was so rude. Okay, I was just kidding." Jill, as the youngest daughter, was the most favored, but she was also the best at reading people's expressions. When she saw her mother was really angry, she immediately changed her face. I am naturally beautiful. Not everyone is worthy of me. After saying that, she ran away. I'm sorry, Adam. Jill is so rude, Sandra said apologetically. It's okay. Adam smiled and said, little girls are like this. I believe Rachel was like this when she was a child, right? Yeah. Hearing about her most beloved and proud eldest daughter, Sandra immediately smiled. Rachel was also so naughty when she was a child. Leonard and I were very worried about her. Adam smiled as Sandra talked about Rachel's childhood stories, nodding frequently, and agreeing appropriately, which made Sandra unable to stop. She was spoiled by her father in her teenage years, attended a sorority in college, and moved directly into her husband's house after graduation. She is the most typical template of a wealthy housewife. After more than 20 years, she was actually tired of this kind of life, and her 3 daughters were grown up. So she yearned for the outside world. Adam was such a handsome young man, willing to listen to her carefully, which gave her an unprecedented experience and made her full of goodwill towards Adam. Therefore, she repeatedly invited Adam to stay. But Adam still declined. The purpose of continuously deepening the relationship with Leonard had been achieved, and there was no need for him to stay. And he would visit Leonard's house later. Compared with the Green family, where only Leonard could help Adam a lot, Adam was more looking forward to the Hofstadter family, whose whole family was elite geniuses. New Jersey, Hofstadter family. Adam. According to the address given by Leonard, Adam just arrived and saw Leonard waiting at the door. When he saw Adam's car coming, he ran over and waved happily. Hi, buddy. Adam got out of the car, patted Leonard on the shoulder, and greeted him intimately. This spring break hunting trip gave Adam a deeper understanding of love. After seeing Leonard and his friends' contributions to him in the inventory system, this understanding became even deeper. Compared with Leonard's emphasis on Adam's friendship, Adam obviously did not respond to Leonard's friendship before. Therefore, there was this large distribution of venison and active door-to-door visits. Buddy, Leonard was stunned, and the curve of his mouth was almost pulled to the back of his ears. This title of buddy is unusual. It is generally not used in this way unless the relationship is very close. For example, in the original Time and Space, he only laughed and shouted out a soul-stirring sound when he saw Sheldon's sister Missy and was shocked by Missy's face and figure. Booty Tilda. That is the saying in the East Country, since the first time I saw your girlfriend, wife, sister, I have decided to be your brother. How are you doing recently? Adam took out the box of venison from the trunk and walked towards Leonard's house while chatting with Leonard. Not bad. Leonard's mouth was bitter at first, then happy. He is an optimist who has reached the peak of the late stage of the acquired realm. He will not lack all kinds of troubles in life. Even with Adam, a celebrity friend, they cannot be eradicated. Just one thing, he can't change his mother. His mother is the biggest source of his troubles. Compared with his mother, other troubles are completely not of the same order of magnitude. Originally, I was going to ask my brother and sister to go home, but there is no time. Today is Sunday and they are all studying at Harvard. Leonard was filled with boundless joy for Adam's visit, and said repeatedly, but my father and mother are at home. My father said that he can't wait to see my best friend. I am looking forward to it too. Adam smiled. Leonard's father is an anthropologist and one of Leonard's spiritual pillars. Even though he competed with him for the hug machine, he did give Leonard a lot of positive influence. Otherwise, Leonard would never have achieved the peak of the late stage of the acquired realm. This is a strong man who can live with the female version of Sheldon for half his life. He is definitely a legend. P.S. Thanks to Aisha Bueshiro and Yi Nen for the reward. Chapter 135 I want to do an experiment with you. New Jersey, Hofstadter's house. Adam, let me introduce you. This is my father, Dr. Alfred Hofstadter, and my mother, Dr. Beverly Hofstadter. Mom and Dad, this is Adam, my best friend. Leonard introduced both parties in high spirits. Hello, Dr. Alfred Hofstadter. Hello, Adam. Leonard's father gave Adam a warm hug, patted Adam's back and said with a smile, you can call me Alfred. Okay, Alfred. Adam naturally followed suit. Hello, Dr. Beverly Hofstadter. Adam looked at Leonard's mother and was about to reach out his hand, but thinking about her personality, He put it down as soon as he raised it, and just smiled and nodded. "It seems that Leonard has told you about me before." Beverly looked at Adam's retracted hand with her eyes under her eye sockets, and a look of scrutiny and understanding flashed in her eyes, and she said seriously and coldly, "Everyone knows you without Leonard telling you." Leonard's father complained in a low voice. "This is normal." Beverly looked at her husband expressionlessly. "I am a famous neuroscientist, psychiatrist, and world-class parenting and child growth expert. The monographs I published are sold all over the world and are set as required textbooks in many disciplines such as neurology, psychology, psychiatric research, and child education. You don't need to emphasize this well-known fact." Then she ignored her husband, who was frustrated, raised her glasses, looked at Adam, and said seriously, "If you want to shake hands, I can shake hands with you, although I don't like it. It is a social custom and I can understand it." "No need." In Leonard's apologetic eyes, Adam's mouth twitched and smiled and declined. "What do you want to drink? Tea, coffee, or Coke?" Leonard invited Adam to sit down and entertained him warmly. "Tea is fine." Adam smiled. "So, Adam, are you and Leonard good friends?" Beverly sat on the sofa opposite and looked at Adam with scrutiny. "Yes." Adam regretted it a little. Beverly's eyes were too sharp. She looked at him as if he were an experiment, which was even more uncomfortable than Sheldon and Peggy together. Even though he had been mentally prepared, he still felt overwhelmed. "Why?" Beverly asked expressionlessly. "What?" Adam was stunned. "You are a college student, and Leonard is still a high school student. There is a big age difference between you two," Beverly said seriously. "Studies have shown that younger children really want to play with older children, while older children are reluctant to play with younger children. If Leonard was the one who found you, I would understand, but I heard that you took the initiative to find Leonard." At this point, she raised her glasses, looked straight at Adam, and said expressionlessly, "Why?" "I am studying psychology." Adam suppressed his complaints and smiled. "I have read your book The Helpless Sadhu, and I am very interested in the Leonard described in your book, so I took the initiative to find Leonard." "Very interested?" Beverly's eyes lit up. "Academic or indescribable?" Fortunately, Leonard hadn't brought the tea yet, otherwise Adam would have sprayed Beverly. Leonard's father couldn't stand Beverly's straightforwardness either. "What?" Beverly glanced at him indifferently, then looked at Adam with scrutiny. "Can't say." "That's the indescribable aspect." "Academic aspect," Adam interrupted quickly. His forehead was a little painful, and if he continued to listen to her, his forehead would probably explode. "Oh, I see." Beverly shook her head and smiled. The tone was obviously not what Adam wanted her to know. "It's really academic." Adam repeated it again, and seeing Beverly's expression, he knew that he couldn't continue to follow her rhythm, otherwise he might really be broken by her talk. Because she is best at this, only after making people break down can she better study others. "You know, in the original Time and Space," Beverly broke down Penny in a few words when she saw her, and came to the conclusion that whoever wants to sleep with Penny should check the brand of cologne used by Penny's father and use the same one. Silly boy Leonard went to comfort the collapsed Penny that night. No one knows whether he used that kind of cologne, but he almost had a good thing with Penny that night. The reason why it was almost like that was because he was so arrogant that he had to talk about his mother's conclusion that Penny was a daddy-obsessed. Penny asked him to do more and talk less, but he didn't listen and said something even more explosive. As a result, he got nothing and was directly kicked out of the room by the ashamed and angry Penny. Without waiting for Beverly to continue shaking her head and laughing, as if she knew that if you didn't want to say it, she didn't want to say more, Adam directly changed the subject. "Dr. Hofstadter, you are a psychiatrist and an expert in parenting and child development, so you should know that treating Leonard so harshly will cause Leonard many psychological problems. This is an interesting topic." Beverly raised her glasses again and nodded. "I don't think this is harsh. His brother and sister went through the same thing, and now they are the best students in Harvard. Leonard is also very good," Adam reminded, "but excellent grades and whether there are psychological problems are two different things. So you didn't answer my question?" "If there are psychological problems, it means that you are not good enough," Beverly said expressionlessly. "Really good people are those who can control their own minds. When you devote all your body and mind to innovation and research, your mind is strong enough. How can psychological problems find you? Isn't this too idealistic? Adam's mouth twitched. As long as I don't want to, I'm fine. It's not idealistic. Beverly pointed at the brain and said seriously, all truths are hidden here. Otherwise why should I study neuroscience? When we truly understand the scientific principles of human nerves, we can repair the nerves that have problems, and all psychological problems will no longer exist. Haha, that makes sense. Adam laughed dryly, but I'm afraid it won't be realized in a short period of time, not to mention that Leonard won't live to that time. Even if he lives to that era, he has been tortured by various psychological problems all his life. What's the point of curing him? That's why scientists like us have to work hard. Beverly looked at Adam. Leonard has been contributing to science since he was born. What about you? Adam, are you willing to contribute to science? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 136. Why don't you go move bricks? New Jersey, Hofstadter's house. Of course, Adam smiled, but in my own way. Your own way? Beverly looked at Adam with interest. Not everyone can interest her and invite her to do experiments for science. With Leonard's strong advocacy, she already knew Adam's basic situation. Columbia student, genius writer, fighting master, messenger of justice, best friend of the century. She didn't believe in all these titles, because she knew her son too well. He was too lacking in love, and when faced with any emotion, he wanted to grasp it as much as possible, and he would involuntarily over-magnify this emotion. However, in the conversation with Adam, she initially recognized that Adam was not a stupid person, and he was the first person who became interested in Leonard and took the initiative to make friends with him because of reading her book. This made her very interested. Adam took the initiative to make friends with Leonard, who was several years younger than him. Was it a distortion of human nature or a loss of morality? Was it an academic interest or an interest in something indescribable? She didn't want to hear what Adam said, but wanted to see what Adam thought. Specific neural reactions represent the absolute truth, so she invited Adam to do an experiment and scan his brain. Neurology won't lie. At this time, Leonard came over with a tray. Adam, your tea. Thank you. Adam took it. Dad, yours. Leonard handed another cup to Alfred. Thank you. Alfred smiled and thanked him. Mom, yours. Leonard finally handed it to Beverly. His expression was contrary to his previous joy, and he looked at his mother nervously. Oolong tea? Beverly took the teacup and began to ask habitually. Yes. Leonard nodded quickly. Loose, not tea bags? Beverly held the teacup and continued to ask. Yes. Leonard rubbed his hands and nodded again, with a smile on his face, because he successfully completed 2 requirements. But this is far from over. 3 minutes? Yes. 2% milk? Yes. Heat it separately? Yes. 1 spoonful of sugar? Yes. Raw sugar? Yes. The smile on Leonard's face became brighter and brighter. Just when he thought he had finally completed the task assigned by his mother perfectly, the unexpected but reasonable scene came. Why did you delay for so long? Beverly still complained, then took a sip, put it down directly, motioned Leonard to take it away, and said unhappily, "It's cold." It seems we know why. I'll make it for you again. Leonard took the teacup and left with a bitter smile. Because Beverly had too many requirements, he had to extend the time to meet them one by one, so he delayed the time and let the tea cool down. In fact, the tea didn't cool down much during this period of time. But his mother is a super sensitive person, and a slight drop in temperature is cold, so he had to go back and brew it again to ensure that it met all of Beverly's rigid requirements, including the temperature. Such a simple tea brewing always has problems. I really don't know how to educate him. Beverly shook her head. Adam and Alfred looked at each other in silence. Adam was thinking, poor Leonard. Alfred was thinking, poor Leonard, and even more pitiful me. So, Beverly turned her attention back to Adam and continued the previous topic. You said you would contribute to science in your own way? What kind of way? I plan to be a doctor in the future. Adam smiled. What kind of doctorate? Beverly asked. Doctorates in geology, anthropology and other disciplines are not considered real doctors, because they are meaningless to the development of science. What did you say? Anthropologist Alfred couldn't stand it anymore and said angrily, human science is also science. Without us studying human lifestyles and revealing the relationship between people and nature, humans will either be destroyed by war or by nature. By then, there will be no people left, so how can there be any scientific development? Okay, I get it. Beverly smiled contemptuously. The reason why the Third World War did not break out is not because of the nuclear peace discovered by nuclear physicists, but because you anthropologists told everyone that you can't do this. Haha. Not a doctorate. Seeing Alfred blushing, Adam quickly tried to smooth things over. I'm talking about a doctor. I'm going to be a cardiothoracic surgeon. Surgeon? Beverly shook her head and said, is this what you call a contribution to science? There is no originality at all. Just some repetitive things. What's the difference between this and those workers moving bricks on a construction site? Of course there is a difference. Adam has gradually adapted to Beverly's straightforwardness. After all, he had endured the same character of Sheldon for 3 years. With Leonard's relationship, he regarded her as the female version of Sheldon. Therefore, facing Beverly's sharp tongue, he was no longer angry, and smiled calmly. No matter how many times a bricklayer repeats a surgery, he can only build a house for you, while a surgeon can save your life at a critical moment if he repeats the surgery too much. I think saving a genius scientist like you who has a huge role in promoting the development of science can barely be considered a contribution to science, right? Beverly looked at Adam in surprise and smiled. You challenged me. I like this. I like it, but you didn't give me a like. Adam, who didn't get the system prompt, complained in his heart, but smiled on his face. I like this too. I have to urinate. Beverly suddenly stood up and used strange words. Most people would say pee or pee-pee, so who would use such a formal word as urinate, except Sheldon? Coitus is Sheldon's high-frequency word, which is much more harsh than urinate. I'm sorry to make you laugh. After Beverly left, Alfred said awkwardly, she is such a self-centered person. Nothing. Adam smiled, but Leonard is very eager to get her approval. Alas, Alfred sighed heavily and said self-deprecatingly, it's not just Leonard. Adam looked at him sympathetically. It seems that Beverly is very goal-oriented, that is, to have children. Once this goal is achieved, she will not spend time and energy on such meaningless things. Later, there was a period of 7 or 8 years without a married life. No wonder Alfred cheated with a waiter in the end. It's too hard for him. Any man would go crazy if he changed. Thinking of this, Adam's heart moved and asked, can you sing? A little. Alfred was stunned. Then can you drink? Adam asked. What do you think? Alfred said self-deprecatingly, can I hold on until now without alcohol? That's fine. Adam smiled meaningfully and said, I have a bold idea. Chapter 137. This place is unacceptable. New Jersey. Hofstadter's house. Bold idea? Alfred was stunned at first, but he was also a doctoral scientist, so he immediately reacted. You mean drinking and singing? It's useless. Why? Adam laughed. Beverly doesn't drink at all, because it will damage the nervous system. Alfred smiled bitterly. As for singing, do you think she can sing? Why not? Adam reminded. Singing is only about level. How can you not sing? How do you know it's not possible if you don't try? As for drinking, it's even simpler. Just tell her that you want to do a neurobiological experiment with her. Will she refuse? Alfred was speechless. With his understanding of Beverly, Beverly probably wouldn't refuse to do a neurobiological experiment. Are you sure this will work? Alfred still hesitated. Will it work? Believe me, it will definitely work, Adam said very confidently. In the original time and space, Penny took Beverly to the bar to drink, and like Sheldon, she turned into a Texas man after drinking. Beverly took a few sips of wine and instantly became another person. From being rigid to being uninhibited, Beverly wanted to turn into a werewolf and swallow the handsome guy, without any indescribable rigor and restraint for the sake of giving birth to offspring. Later, she hugged Sheldon and kissed him hard. If Sheldon hadn't responded, I'm afraid Leonard would really call Sheldon Daddy, considering the compatibility between Beverly and Sheldon. This is drinking. Singing has a similar effect. Sheldon invited Beverly to sing karaoke, and Beverly refused at first because it was something she and her husband Alfred had never done before. But when the two sang together, they really danced, howled, and endorphins, human secretions that produce pleasure, exploded. Then let me try. Alfred was a little moved. His life has been so difficult over the years. Can it get worse no matter how hard he tries? Of course not. It will only get better and better. If the effect is good, it can be expanded. Adam was also worried about Leonard's family, and continued to suggest, I have read your paper. Let's not talk about Beverly. I think you should not agree with this frequency, right? Beverly and Alfred are both scientists, so they naturally discussed Beverly's theory of indescribable only for reproduction. For this reason, both of them published papers, one from the perspective of neurobiology and the other from the perspective of anthropology. As you can imagine, the conclusions they reached are completely opposite. Of course, Alfred was so moved that he almost cried. These words really touched his heart. Is there anyone who understands him better than Adam? No. No wonder Leonard said Adam is the best friend of the century. No, Adam is more useful than a hug machine. Grab it. No, you must borrow it. Actually, the question is very simple. Adam smiled and said, since Beverly likes to treat everything as an experiment and understands the necessity to comply with social customs, why don't you start from these two aspects to create the indescribable frequency you want? For example, Valentine's Day is needless to say. Birthdays should also be rewarded, right? Wedding anniversaries, Leonard's birthdays, and various special holidays. You are an anthropologist, and you are professionally studying the relationship between people. As long as you want, you don't have to say 365 days a year. Of course, you can't bear it if it really takes 365 days a year, right? There are several special holidays every month, and Beverly studies the differences between neurobiological experiments on these days and on ordinary days. It's completely reasonable. The only variable is whether Alfred can do it, but Beverly shouldn't care about these. After all, since 1982, she has been waving her hands and shouting yeah by herself. As long as Alfred is satisfied and doesn't cheat on the restaurant waiter, then Leonard's parents' marriage can continue, because Beverly's evaluation of their marriage is perfect. That's right. It's not just a simple okay, make do, but a highly evaluated perfect, because although Beverly looked down on Alfred in various ways, his tolerance was just like Leonard's tolerance of Sheldon in the future. Both Beverly and Sheldon were actually satisfied. They also vaguely knew that apart from Leonard and his son, they could not find a better husband and roommate. Therefore, if there was no change, they who liked homeostasis most were unwilling to make any changes. Alfred was stunned, then screamed, hugged Adam, and cried, "Wow, Adam, you are so good. There is hope for my marriage again." With his IQ, once Adam pointed out the key, how could he not figure it out? What happened? Leonard, who heard the noise, came over and asked in surprise. Nothing. Alfred was too excited, and his tears of happiness could not stop. Adam had to let him hold him and smiled perfunctorily at Leonard. He couldn't say that he was instructing your father on how to get the happiness that he should have from your mother, right? Anthropologists are indeed not as rational as natural scientists. They are too emotional. Man. Beverly came back and shook her head expressionlessly. Boy, it's time to act. Adam pushed Alfred and reminded him in a low voice. Let's do it now. 10,000 years is too long. We have to seize the day. Oh. Alfred knew he had lost his composure, let go of Adam, lowered his head to wipe the tears from the corners of his eyes, looked at Adam, nodded heavily, stood up and looked at Beverly. Beverly, I want to do a neurobiology experiment with you. Okay. Beverly was stunned, but when she heard that it was not an anthropology experiment but a neurobiology experiment, she agreed without thinking. Come with me. A good start is half the success. Seeing Beverly agree so easily, Alfred was shocked and called Beverly to their room in a very manly manner. What happened? Leonard was confused. He had never seen such a high-spirited father before. Too handsome, right? But is this really the father who snatched the hug machine from him? Ahem. Adam knew that it was not appropriate to stay here any longer, so he coughed and said, "Leonard, how about we go out for a walk?" "Okay." Leonard suppressed his confusion and said happily, "Let's go to the comic book store first and let them see what genius writers in real life are like." "No problem." Adam stood up and took Leonard out, because with his keen hearing, he could vaguely hear some noises, which seemed to be the muffled sound of a table tennis racket hitting biological fat tissue. This place really couldn't be stayed any longer. Chapter 138 Big Long Face, New Jersey. A comic book shop near Hofstadter's home. "Everyone, let me introduce him." As soon as Leonard came in, he clapped his hands and shouted, "This is the author of the original novel of Lord of Mysteries, Adam Duncan, my best friend, Leonard Hofstadter." "So young, really?" The otakus in the comic book shop looked over one after another, and they couldn't believe that Adam was so young and handsome. "Mr. Duncan, I like Lord of Mysteries very much. Can you sign an autograph for me?" The owner of the comic book shop rushed over immediately. As a person in the industry in the New York metropolitan area, he still has an impression of Adam, a popular newcomer whose fame is rising rapidly. After all, Adam also participated in many on-site signing sessions and promotions last year. Of course, whether the comic book shop owner is a real fan remains to be discussed, but he definitely sees the benefits. Not every comic book shop has authors coming to help out. Once this gimmick is established, it will become famous in the nearby comic book circle, which can attract more readers to buy comics and peripherals. After all, it doesn't matter where you buy it. When you come here, you may even meet an idol star. Of course, no problem. Seeing Leonard's happy look with his head held high, Adam naturally wanted to give him face, and quickly signed his name on the Lord of Mysteries comic. "Can we take a photo together?" The comic shop owner pushed for more. "Haha." Adam smiled without saying anything, just looking at Leonard. The comic shop owner is a businessman, and he knows everything. He immediately came to Leonard and tried to please him. Leonard was so happy that he couldn't close his mouth. In the end, he also gave him a discount of 20% off for the whole store, free drinks. "Adam, how about taking a photo together? I often come to this comic shop," Leonard said a little embarrassedly. "Since you like it here, of course it's no problem. But does he have a camera?" Adam continued to give Leonard a face, deliberately raising his voice. In fact, it doesn't matter if he doesn't raise his voice, because everyone's eyes are staring at this side, and their ears are erected towards this side. "Yes, yes, yes," the comic shop owner said happily. "I'll get it right away." As he said that, he rushed out of the comic shop, borrowed a camera from somewhere, and asked Adam to take a photo with him. Adam naturally would not take a photo with him alone, and insisted on bringing Leonard with him. So, at the entrance of the comic shop, Adam stood in the center, the comic shop owner stood on the left, Leonard stood on the right, and a geek helped take the photo. The comic shop owner will make this photo into a poster and promote it vigorously. It will also be hung in his shop forever in the future as a proof of his qualifications. Seeing the comic shop owner's posture, the other geeks finally confirmed Adam's identity and gathered around to ask for autographs. Adam thought that it was a rare opportunity to come here, so he simply gave Leonard the biggest face and specifically asked these people, are they Leonard's friends? After receiving a series of yes, he nodded and agreed. The comic shop owner quickly prepared tables and chairs, and prepared a comic book for each of the geeks. The special on-site signing event officially began. Everyone in the comic shop lined up to participate, even if someone is not a fan of the Lord of Mysteries. A signed version of the collectible comic can be sold back in a short time, which is also a small fortune. Some people even call their friends. Among them is Leonard, who is so happy that he can't find the side. "What?" Adam signed autographs for the otakus. When he heard Leonard leaning over and whispering that he also called people, he looked at him in surprise. "It's Becky." Leonard blushed and said, "She should be considered my girlfriend, but we are dating secretly." "Secretly dating? You are really good at playing," Adam teased, "but are you sure she is your girlfriend?" Leonard wanted to say yes, but reason could not deceive him. "I understand." Adam signed autographs and smiled. "Since you asked her to come over, you must have some ideas, right? Tell me. I will definitely help you realize it. No ideas, Leonard stammered. She also likes your comics. She is my girlfriend, and you are my best friend. I think you should get to know each other. The first kiss is still there? Adam's heart moved. Leonard nodded shyly. Do you know Geraldine Coco? Adam asked. Hey, do you know Kira? Leonard said in surprise. She's my classmate. I went to your school to look for you and heard her name by chance. I heard that you had a pretty good relationship with her. Adam laughed. Leonard thought about Kira, who had a boyish personality and appearance, and didn't understand why Adam mentioned her, but he nodded and said, I think she's okay. Do you like her? Adam asked. He remembered that Leonard's first kiss lasted until he graduated from high school, and it was broken by Kira, which meant a lot to Leonard. In the future, Leonard, who was also successful, was invited to give a speech to the graduates of his alma mater, and he was very emotional and thanked Kira from the bottom of his heart. No, Leonard shook his head and said, I like Becky. That's right. Although Leonard looks like a dog licker, he is a senior member of the Real Appearance Association, and he only licks the goddesses he thinks are beautiful and attractive. Of course, if his hormones require it, he will eat anything as long as it is a woman, but his attitude is completely different. For example, in the original Time and Space, Leonard broke up with Penny, and the hungry Leonard started the agreement with Howard, asking Bernadette to help him find a female companion. Bernadette couldn't resist Howard's request, so she had to help Leonard make a date with a warrior she met in the gym. Not only did she look very manly, but she also practiced various female self-defense techniques, and she could easily do dozens or hundreds of versions of monkeys stealing peaches. During the date, Leonard, who didn't like such a woman, directly mocked her for eating too much. That was a $200 lobster. This is an extraordinary move. You know, in Leonard's science boy group, Sheldon is still a giant baby, and he has no feelings for the indescribable, while the remaining Howard and Rajesh, as long as they can be happy, they really have no bottom line. For example, Howard and Rajesh had a few things with a 300-pound Sailor Moon at the anime festival. For example, Howard took Leonard, who had just broken up, to find an auntie who danced in the square, and said very experiencedly, the auntie is very gentle, you will like it. Rajesh is even stronger among the strong. He even raised a dog so ambiguously that everyone deliberately used his words to guess whether he said it to the dog or to his girlfriend. Because there is almost no difference, it is hard to tell. Leonard's way of mocking his dating partner is simply unique to scorpions. Of course, in the end, when the female man invited him to do something indescribable, he still happily agreed. P.S. Thank you for the reward from the leader of the plane shuttle. This is the first alliance of the author's life. I am a little excited. I will try to add 3 chapters on Sunday at noon. Thank you book friends 20181119191919166658, Yidan, and Ludo Fuening for the reward. Chapter 139 Kidnapper Leonard, New Jersey, a comic book store near Hofstadter's home. So, Adam looked at Leonard and smiled playfully. How do you want me to help you? The first kiss? Or do you want more? No. Leonard lowered his head in embarrassment, then looked up at Adam expectantly. I don't want more. Then it's the first kiss. Adam understood immediately. Leonard chuckled. The first kiss is a very wonderful thing, Adam advised. And from what I heard from you, Becky doesn't seem to take you seriously at all. Are you sure you want to waste the first kiss on her instead of waiting for a more suitable person? Wait for a more suitable person, Leonard said anxiously. Then I have to wait for a lifetime. Becky has some problems. But I'm not afraid of wasting. Right. I'm not afraid of wasting at all. Okay. Adam shrugged and smiled. This is your own choice. It's our choice. Leonard smiled awkwardly. Adam, you must help me. I'll try my best. Adam smiled and didn't think it was that difficult. It's just a kiss. How difficult can it be in the world of American TV series? Any excuse would do the trick. Besides, Becky is a scumbag who likes to take advantage. That's even easier. The book signing event is still going on. Becky. Leonard was waiting at the door, staring at the movement outside the door eagerly. When he saw Becky's figure, he immediately rushed out, cheering and waving. Here, what a cool car. Becky is a typical American blonde girl, the same type as Penny. When she heard Leonard's call, she walked towards the comic book store with her long legs. When she saw Adam's SUV parked outside, her eyes lit up. Not all girls like small and cool sports cars. Some girls like rugged muscle cars because the cars are bigger and more spacious. Many times, for some people who like to hang out outside, it is more convenient and comfortable. This is Adam's car. Leonard licked it. As long as you like, we'll take you for a ride later. The voice and expression vividly interpret a word. Dog liquor. Okay. Becky smiled at Leonard, but there was no trace of Leonard in her eyes. She only wanted to see Adam, whom Leonard had always been thinking about. If he was really as awesome as Leonard said, she wouldn't mind hooking up with Adam through Leonard. In the original time and space, the reason why she was able to go to Cornell University, one of the Ivy League schools in New York, was not only because of her good family conditions, but also because she intended to make friends with Leonard and let Leonard write her homework and papers, and easily obtain excellent grades and resumes. For a girl like her, it is a traditional skill to meet better men, keep climbing up, and hang more spare tires below as stepping stones. Adam, this is Becky. Becky, this is Adam. When Leonard came over with Becky, he saw the incredible and envious eyes of the Otakus looking at him, and he proudly raised his head and chest, and his heart was so happy that he was about to explode. That's right, brothers are so awesome. Most of the comic book circles are single geeks. When a woman walks into a comic book store, everyone will stare at her, which is enough to scare people away. In the original time and space, Leonard's favorite thing is to bring Penny to such occasions. His wallet is full of intimate photos of him and Penny. When the geeks doubt him, he takes them out to show others. It even develops to the point that Penny takes a photo with him with the newspaper of the day, and uses the hostage-taking method to happily prove that he really has such a beautiful girlfriend and wife. This is after more than 10 years of love and marriage. Now he has never even touched a girl's hand, but he has the treatment of a strange man that he has worked hard for more than 10 years. You can imagine how strong this sense of happiness is. And he knows that all this is thanks to Adam. Without Adam, Becky would refuse any of his invitations for the 10,000th time. Hi. Adam stood up and shook hands with Becky. Becky, who is a goddess in Leonard's eyes, is only a 6 in Adam's eyes. However, there have been no ugly women in the past 18 years, and youthful vitality also adds a lot of points. Adam took the initiative to let go of his hand, and he was more and more sure that Becky was indeed a scumbag, because in front of everyone, she actually tickled Adam's palm with her fingers without making a sound. Adam, let's take Becky out for a ride, Leonard said excitedly. Wait a minute. Adam smiled non-committally. It's not finished signing yet. Leonard wanted to say that he had Becky, so why bother about them? But Becky took the initiative to say, no hurry, I'll wait for you, you are so nice. Leonard was very moved, and then led Becky to visit the comic shop, trying her best to introduce his favorite comics. While signing, Adam thought about how to deal with this troublesome matter. The most important thing is not to hurt Leonard, but Becky's attitude. Even if it doesn't hurt today, it will hurt later. Long pain is worse than short pain. In the East Country, this kind of thing is actually not suitable for brothers and friends to intervene, because if it is not handled well, it is common for brothers to turn against friends. But here, without Adam's help, Becky was too lazy to care about Leonard. Forget it. What he has to do is to satisfy Leonard's biggest wish now, and what happens to Leonard in the future is not something he should consider. You can't let him take care of Leonard's emotional life, right? As for emotional damage, Leonard is actually very strong. In the original time and space, even if he was dumped by Penny, whom he thought was his true love, he quickly came out of it and fell in love with Rajesh's sister. He once wanted to follow Rajesh's sister to live in the Three Kingdoms. Even a super rich man like Rajesh is unwilling to return to his homeland, and Leonard is willing to go to a foreign country with him. This is definitely true love. Therefore, true love is not a rare thing for Leonard. As long as it is a beautiful woman, he can fall in love with it at any time. In other words, Leonard's true love will be greatly discounted, and the damage he suffers will automatically be reduced to a harmless level. Not to mention, the harm that any woman may cause to Leonard is completely a drop in the bucket compared to Leonard's mother Beverly. Leonard can survive, live to this age, and live so optimistically, which has already explained everything. Why does Adam need to protect him specifically? If Leonard had to choose, would he let Adam protect him and repel a scumbag like Becky from getting hurt? Or would Adam help him and get close to a scumbag like Becky but get hurt afterwards? From Leonard at the age of 8 to Leonard at the age of 80, their answer was always the same: let go of those scumbags and let them come. Adam, who had figured this out, smiled unconsciously. Okay, let's stop here. Adam signed the last book, and without waiting for more people to come, he stood up and announced, calling out, "Leonard, let's go for a ride." Chapter 140. No one is more professional than me. In the evening, Adam drove Leonard back to the Hofstadter home. Hee. Leonard reached out and touched his cheek, falling into a state of pervert, laughing from time to time. Adam was speechless. Originally, he was going to help Leonard realize his dream today. Unfortunately, the king could not lead the bronze. He hinted to Becky to kiss Leonard through various routines, and Becky agreed and took the initiative to kiss him. Unexpectedly, the coward Leonard turned his face away in fear, and was kissed on the cheek by Becky. It really was the strength of opportunities came like raindrops, and I dodged them one by one. Fortunately, Leonard was satisfied. After Adam calculated that the experiments of the two Dr. Hofstadters should be finished and packed up, he took the initiative to end the ride and sent Becky home. Leonard has been in this state of pervert. "Ha, you are back." Leonard's father, Alfred, smiled with a red face, looking at Adam with gratitude. Obviously, Adam's different understanding of Beverly through the plot, combined with the genius Amy's method of trapping Sheldon into the net for many years, gave Alfred advice that worked very well. After pointing out the key, Alfred only needs to learn from Sheldon's future wife Amy and take it step by step, and their marriage will definitely be fine. You know, Sheldon is much more difficult to deal with than Beverly. He, a duck who can run at any time, was defeated by Amy's tactics. Not to mention Beverly, who has been married for many years and has 3 children. Speaking of feelings, how many years has Amy been with Sheldon, and how many intimate contacts has she had? Let's look at Alfred and Beverly again. After Alfred cheated on the waitress and divorced, Beverly scolded Alfred very badly, and kept brooding over the reason for the breakdown of their perfect marriage on that cheating. For the rational and indifferent Beverly, this is enough to explain her feelings for Alfred. And Alfred, after cheating and divorcing, did not feel guilty at all. On the contrary, he continued to stimulate Beverly, which can be said to be a deep love and deep hatred, because in his opinion, the real reason for the breakdown of the marriage was Beverly's indifference, disregard for his male dignity, and most importantly, she didn't have sex with him for 7 or 8 years. 7 or 8 years. Many men can't even stand their wives being 8 months pregnant, let alone 7 or 8 years. Alfred could endure it for so long. What else could it be but true love? Now, he would definitely try his best to create various experiments to invite Beverly to participate, and after solving the most basic physiological needs, in fact, indifference and disregard for his dignity are nothing, as Leonard said when he heard Beverly mention that he wanted to maintain his dignity. It's amazing. Mom, you actually think I still have dignity to maintain? And who did Leonard inherit this character from? It goes without saying. Adam smiled and nodded in response. Doing good things is indeed giving roses to others, and your hands will be fragrant. And now his heart is full of a sense of accomplishment and pleasure. The only flaw is that even if Alfred is so grateful to Adam and must treat Adam as a good friend like Leonard, the system still doesn't give any prompts, reasonable explanations. One is that Alfred is not popular enough and is just a supporting role, and the other is that although he is a doctor and an anthropologist, like Ross's doctorate in archaeology, he does not need a genius IQ to get it. Adam is more inclined to the latter. Dad, what's wrong with you? After returning home, Leonard dared not to remain a pervert. Seeing that Alfred's movements were a little stiff, he couldn't help but ask with concern. Nothing, just fell just now, and my butt hurts a little, Alfred explained quickly. Adam smiled meaningfully. At this time, Beverly came over. Mom, Leonard shouted, Dad fell and got hurt. He didn't fall, Beverly said seriously. It's just that I hit him with a ping-pong paddle when we were indescribable before. I have applied medicine and added cushions to his chair. It's okay." "Beverly," Alfred shouted in shame and anger. "What?" Leonard was stunned. "I was dreaming when I was 6 years old?" When he was 6 years old, he walked into his parents' room and saw a similar scene, which was later described by Alfred as a dream. He never thought it was real. "Of course not," Beverly said without hiding it. "Your father has a mild masochistic hobby. I am just cooperating with him. Is there any problem?" "No." Adam quickly tried to smooth things over and gave Alfred a way out. "This hobby is not uncommon. Many men even pay professionals to whip them. It's no big deal." "Whips are not uncommon, but table tennis rackets," Adam said. "The city knows how to play." "I'm the most professional," Beverly said indifferently and confidently. "I'm a psychiatrist and I know this kind of slightly perverted psychological needs very well. I'm also a neurologist and I know nerves and reactions very well. No one is as professional as me in the indescribable aspects of mild masochism." "Yes, yes," Alfred said angrily. "We all know that you are the most professional. Okay, can we change the subject now?" "Interesting." Beverly raised her glasses and looked at Alfred scrutinizingly, like begging and angry rejection, appearing at the same time in the same thing. "Human nature is complex." Adam had to interrupt. "By the way, Dr. Hofstadter, you are a neurologist. I have a friend studying at Harvard who is going to take the Harvard Medical School exam and become a neurosurgeon in the future. I wonder if I can borrow some neuroscience information from you to familiarize myself with it in advance?" "Neurosurgeon?" Beverly showed the same contemptuous expression as Sheldon despised Leonard's experimental physics, but her goal is very clear, and I appreciate that. If she wants to achieve greater things, I suggest that she study neuroscience and do original research. Then she can apply to be my graduate student. Of course, whether she can succeed depends on her ability. I'll tell her." Adam smiled. "Let Juno study neuroscience with Beverly. It sounds interesting, but Juno is probably unwilling to do so. Compared with boring research, Juno is more hands-on and likes to do it." Then it was dinner time. Beverly naturally couldn't cook dinner. Alfred was injured again, so they could only order takeout. After eating, Adam was ready to leave. After all, he had experienced too many excitements that day. Beverly was not only as straightforward as Sheldon, but the key was that she was Leonard's mother. The same words, when Sheldon said them, Adam and the others just listened to them as jokes, but when Beverly said them, it was full of embarrassment. But before leaving, Adam was invited to visit Leonard's bedroom. Chapter 141. Seeing is believing. New Jersey. Leonard's bedroom. "It's quite clean and tidy." Adam looked around and praised. "You have met my mother," Leonard complained. "Isn't this normal?" "Yes," Adam nodded. "Sheldon is famous for his cleanliness, and Beverly, the female version of Sheldon, is not much better." With her around, Leonard can't be untidy. "Who is this?" Adam saw a photo frame on the desk, which contained a photo of Leonard and a bald man. "My Uncle Floyd," Leonard introduced. "He is my favorite person in our family. My best memories of childhood are with Uncle Floyd." Oh, Adam remembered Leonard's uncle. In the original Time and Space, this uncle who was closest to Leonard did not appear, and was directly killed by the background through Beverly's words. Beverly did not say how he died, but only said that his heart stopped beating. Hey, thinking of this, Adam's heart moved and began to calculate the time difference. Because he had watched it dozens of times from beginning to end in his previous life, Adam remembered almost all the plots and most of the details of The Big Bang Theory. The Big Bang Theory began in 2007, and Beverly appeared in the second half of the second season, which was around the end of 2008 and the beginning of 2009. Leonard didn't know about this, so it could only have happened recently and in the same year. Otherwise Leonard couldn't have heard any news. In other words, Floyd probably died in 2008. It is now 1993, 15 years before Floyd's death. According to Adam's plan of 3 years of college, 4 years of medical school, 1 year of internship, and 5 to 6 years of residency, in 2008, Adam had been an attending physician for 1 to 2 years. With Adam's current preparations, Adam's talents and the 4 major attributes that are constantly improving, and the opportunities provided by Leonard in the future, When he is promoted to attending physician, Adam's level will definitely be first class. At that time, Adam has every chance to save Leonard's uncle. Of course, the best way is to remind Freud to go to the hospital for a checkup in advance. However, if you don't know what disease Freud has, you will probably be regarded as a lunatic if you say this for no reason. Then he thought of Sheldon's father George. George died when Sheldon was 14, which is next year. He had a heart disease and had an attack a few years ago. He was so critically ill that Sheldon went to the church to pray to God. Later, he was rescued and Sheldon immediately changed his words to God. Therefore, he did not die suddenly without knowing the disease. So Adam could only sigh and do nothing. Thinking of this, Adam smiled helplessly and laughed at himself in his heart. I am really crazy. My feelings were floating in the air before. Is it a bit of overcompensation now? First, he helped Leonard's parents eliminate the hidden dangers of marriage, and then helped Leonard to gain face and realize his dream. Now he is worried about Leonard's uncle who will die in the future and Sheldon's father who is about to die. What is this if not crazy? However, Adam still secretly remembered the matter of Floyd. Sheldon's father George was powerless, but as long as he paid attention to Floyd's problem, there was still a great chance of saving it. Shouldn't true friends care from the bottom of their hearts? And this feeling is not bad. Is this a group photo of your Hofstadter family? Adam picked up another photo frame and looked at it, and then laughed out loud. This is not inevitable. Leonard naturally knew what Adam was laughing at, and hurriedly explained, look, my father has very good hair, and my aunt has such abundant hair. Yeah, Adam nodded seriously, but his eyes kept on the photo in the photo frame. Sure enough, just as Sheldon, who had seen this photo in the original Time and Space, said, Leonard's uncles were all first-class strong, bald, men, sons, sitting together, like half a box of eggs. After looking at the photo, Adam smiled and said, Leonard, take it out. What? Leonard was stunned. You know, Adam teased, what I want to see most is your masterpiece. You mean? Leonard's mouth twitched, and he said with a bitter face, hugging machine? Of course. Adam smiled. This is a legendary item you invented alone. How could I miss it? Don't tell me your father borrowed it again. No. Leonard smiled bitterly. I made it when I was a child. Who uses it now? I put it away and put it in the attic. Then what are you waiting for? Adam urged. It's getting late. I have to go back. Take it out and let me see it. Okay. Leonard had no choice but to take Adam to the attic upstairs and found the famous hugging machine from the pile of debris. When I was a child, my mother never hugged me. In order to feel the feeling of being hugged by my mother, I invented this when I was 10 years old. Adam listened to Leonard's introduction and looked at it carefully. The so-called hugging machine is a female dummy wearing clothes. The only difference is that the arms have been obviously modified. I asked a tailor to make this. There is an electric blanket stuffed inside, which can heat up to the temperature of the human body. The arm has been modified and driven by a motor. The control is radio. Hold this in your hand and press the button, and you can hug me and pat my back. Show me. Show me. Adam laughed. Play it yourself. Leonard naturally refused. I want to. But this is specially designed for you. It doesn't match me, Adam teased. Leonard couldn't help but roll his eyes at Adam. What do you mean it doesn't match me? You say I'm short, so you say I'm short. But he finally demonstrated it. Adam touched it, and the temperature and the effect of hugging and patting the back were pretty good. Talent. If Leonard didn't choose experimental physics in the future, but chose mechanical engineering at MIT like Howard, another robot genius would rise. Maybe, if Leonard and Howard worked together, Howard's robot hand that always gets stuck at critical moments and the interactive mouth of the artifact of long-distance relationship will not appear at all, but directly create a real otaku welfare artifact robot. After seeing the famous hugging machine, Adam resolutely said goodbye to Leonard with a reluctant look in his eyes and drove back to New York. He had to go to school tomorrow, and since he met Heather, this godsend, he really felt that he hadn't seen her for a long time. In the short term, he really couldn't leave her for a day. Chapter 142 Looking Forward to the Future. At night, in the Central Park Cafe, Monica and Chandler sat on the sofa and chatted. Rachel was slacking off to make money, chatting with Monica and the others from time to time. Xu Renzhu once said, "Working seriously is called labor for reward, and the essence of making money is the plunder of capital, so slacking off at work is making money." Rachel obviously understands this and has been practicing this truth. "Adam, you're back?" Rachel saw Adam push the door open and hurriedly greeted him. "How is my mother lately?" "Mrs. Green looks good." Adam sat on the sofa, nodded to Monica and Chandler, and said with a smile, "You also told me a lot of interesting stories about your childhood." "Oh, Mom." Rachel covered her face with her hands, looking like she couldn't bear to see anyone, and complained, "Why did she tell you this the first time she met you?" "It's too much." "It's normal." Monica smiled and said, "Didn't you see who Mrs. Green met?" "Yeah." Chandler often complained, "Adam is simply a friend of women, haha." Adam immediately glanced at Chandler when he heard it. Seeing that he was not saying something with hidden meaning, he breathed a sigh of relief and laughed dryly. "It's not that exaggerated, we just get along well." Then he immediately changed the subject. "Monica, did you save the venison?" "Yes." Monica complained, "Do you know how much effort I put in?" "Huh?" Adam was stunned. And then he immediately reacted, "Isn't Joey eating enough?" Joey is a typical foodie. His stomach seems to be a bottomless pit. He can eat even a turkey weighing dozens of kilograms in one go. When he encounters venison, which is nourishing, and at the same time stimulates his sex character, he can eat as much venison as possible. After eating, it is a good time to go hunting for beauties to digest the food, the best of both worlds. Not only Joey, Monica complained, but also Phoebe. "Phoebe?" Adam was surprised. "Yes." Monica smiled, "She was originally a vegetarian, and she has been condemning you since you left, but when we were eating together, she accidentally tasted a bite. Then it was really delicious, right?" Adam smiled knowingly. "Yes." Chandler complained, "The result is that no one eats as well as she does, except Joey, of course. The two of them are simply competing for the biggest eater." "I like it. I'll bring more next time." "It's not a rare thing, I just want to eat it for fun." Adam smiled and said, "Monica, tomorrow I'll trust you to deal with the remaining venison. I'll give it to Matthew and the others to try." "No problem." Monica agreed without hesitation. Adam raised his hand to check the time. It was already 9 o'clock. He quickly stood up and said, "I have something to do. I'm leaving first." "Something?" Monica smiled and leaned over. "Are you going on a date with Heather? When will you bring her over so we can see her?" Rachel said sourly, "We want to see what kind of beauty she is." Although she had accepted the fact that Adam and her father were more in tune with each other than she was with her father, she had reset Adam as a good friend in her heart, and the evil fire of conquest had also subsided. But there was still a trace of remnant. She was a beautiful woman named Rachel Green, but not only did she fail, but Adam turned around and met a woman who was in love with her. This made her feel a little resentful and had a strong sense of comparison. Adam looked at Rachel, thought about it, and nodded. "Okay, I'll pick her up and introduce her to you." "Wow, are you serious this time?" Monica exclaimed. "What is true and what is false?" Adam said seriously, "True is true, false is also true. I have always been serious." After that, without waiting for Monica and the others to complain, he waved and left. Originally, he was not going to introduce Heather so quickly, but seeing Rachel's look, he felt that it was still necessary. "Bring Heather here, nothing needs to be said, it's clear at a glance. Rachel will definitely understand it completely." Sure enough, when Adam brought Heather in, Rachel looked down and didn't want to say anything. After everyone chatted for a while, Adam took Heather away. Duncan apartment. The rain stopped and the clouds cleared. Adam was still full of energy. He chatted with Heather and introduced her to Monica and their personalities and interesting stories. Heather was also very interested and was very happy that Adam stayed up late to chat with her. Just as the metaphor used by everyone before, the men went through a lot of trouble to watch the drama performance. They could laugh at the opening jokes, but their main purpose was still the main show. After the main show, they just wanted to leave and go back to sleep. But women attach great importance to the opening jokes and the main show. They even want to review the opening jokes after the main show, which makes it very difficult for men to bear. "What's the point of reviewing? I'm so sleepy." "Wouldn't it be nice to sleep?" This seems to be the mark of the pedant. Adam chatted with Heather while playing with it. When he saw the mark on Heather's chest, he smiled. "Yeah," Heather nodded. "I've had it since I was a child. I also asked my parents, and they said that I was burned by the pendant because I was naughty when I was a child." "This pendant seems unusual." Adam took a closer look. "Look at the patterns on it. It looks like a pendant inherited from the family." "Does your family have things like a family crest or a family mark?" "No." Heather reached out and touched it, shaking her head. "I've never seen it, and I didn't dare to ask more. I asked once when I was a child, and my father got angry." "You don't know." "Although he usually likes to get angry, but that time was particularly scary, and I still remember it vividly." "Is your father a domestic abuser?" Adam asked with concern. "It's not domestic violence." Heather frowned and said, "He just has a bad temper and likes to drink, but he has never hit me or my mother." "What about your mother?" Adam asked curiously. "How is your relationship?" "Not bad." Heather hesitated and said, "My mother is very good to me, but how should I put it? There is always a layer between us, because she always listens to my father, and always stands on my father's side in the end. And every time my father gets angry with me, he always feels that I am not his daughter." "You didn't pick you up from the trash can?" Adam thought of the jokes he often heard in his previous life, and couldn't help but joked. "Haha." Heather laughed and said, "My father really said that, and sometimes I can't help but think that maybe they really picked me up from the trash can." At this point, his voice became much lower. "Don't think too much. The past cannot be retrieved, but the future can still be expected." Adam turned over and smiled. "Let's look forward to the future." "Yeah." The gloom on Heather's face suddenly dissipated. She agreed with her nose. Her beautiful blue eyes sparkled with colorful light like gems. There was fear, but also expectation. P.S. Thanks to book friends 20181109191916658, One Happiness, and egoist number 214 for their rewards. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 143 Forced Edition. 7 days later. Apartment 520. Adam, do you know any good places for a date nearby? Ross came in and saw Adam. His eyes lit up. Adam thought for a moment and mentioned a few places. "They're all too high-end." Ross frowned and said, "Are there any places that are a little cheaper?" "Who are you dating?" Monica asked curiously. "It must be that insect girl," Phoebe shouted. "He has mentioned her several times. Her name is Celia." "Not the insect girl," Ross said speechlessly. "She is the director of the insect department of our museum." "She is not seducing you, is she?" Adam laughed. "Of course not," Ross shouted with disgust. "Any plans?" Rachel teased. "Just have dinner, and then take her to my apartment to see my monkeys," Ross said. "He is not speaking metaphorically, everyone," Chandler mocked. "He is really inviting her to see his monkeys." Ha ha ha. Everyone laughed. Ross has a monkey named Marcel. Like Rajesh's dog Little Gizzy in The Big Bang Theory and Robin's 5 big dogs in How I Met Your Mother. The owner and pet have a close relationship. The various interactions are amazing. The restaurant doesn't matter. Adam laughed. "It depends on your personality and of course your monkey." Ha ha ha. Everyone laughed again. "I'm leaving." Ross rolled his eyes and turned away. This was his first serious date after his divorce, so he had to plan it well. He didn't want to mess it up. "OMG, you can't believe what just happened." Joey pushed the door open and shouted. "What?" Monica asked. "My agent called me and arranged for me to act in Al Pacino's new movie," Joey shouted. "After 6 years, my career is finally going to set sail." "Al Pacino, The Godfather, Scent of a Woman? OMG, he's a superstar," everyone exclaimed. "Congratulations." Adam was a little surprised. He only remembered that Joey had played in a soap opera in the future, but he didn't expect that he would get a role in a superstar movie now. It is said that once an actor's face appears in a movie of this level, his career will definitely be a huge improvement. Actors are also a very group-oriented industry. Those who come to the United States from various countries are basically in a situation where the seniors support the juniors and stick together. Joey and Al Pacino are both Italian actors. If he takes the opportunity to establish a relationship, it will really be like what Joey said, his career will really set sail. But the level of movie actors is far higher than that of TV actors. If Joey is really successful, I am afraid he will enter the film industry, and why would he play in a soap opera? It seems that something is wrong. Joey, what role are you playing? %@. Joey said vaguely, and it was completely incomprehensible. Joey, Adam guessed 80%. But I am afraid that this role will not show the face. Okay. Joey spread his hands and said, I'm his butt double. I play Al Pacino's butt. He walks into the bathroom, and then I show his butt for him. Okay? OMG. Monica couldn't help laughing and could only cover her mouth with her hand, but she still couldn't control it. You really don't show your face. Adam didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Come on, everyone, Joey explained. Although it's just a butt substitute, I also have my aspirations. Yeah. Chandler suppressed his laughter and said, it's not too late to get a tattoo now, just tattoo it on it. Professional butt substitute, Joey Tribbiani, contact number 233666. Okay, Adam interrupted, stop teasing Joey, his courage to pursue his dreams is worthy of our admiration, not everyone has the courage to do this. Yes. Rachel covered her mouth and suppressed her laughter and said, let's listen to how Joey plans to use his butt to show his acting skills. That's it. Joey's train of thought is unique. Hearing this, he clapped his hands and shouted, although this is just a butt substitute, it is also Al Pacino's butt substitute. It will be seen by countless people. Once my performance level is good, countless people will directly know me. Joey Tribbiani. Isn't this a good opportunity? Yes. Monica smiled and said, but how do you perform well? I've thought about it, Joey said seriously. This character is very depressed when he takes a shower. His wife died and his brother is missing, so I will use my butt to show his depression and anger, like this. At this point, Joey turned around, exerted all his strength, and tightened his buttocks. Wow, you are very angry. We saw it. Chandler shouted exaggeratedly, it's so scary, please relax, I'm afraid you will hit me. Really? You saw it? Joey was very happy and said confidently, he is still wearing pants, otherwise the effect will be better and more impactful. Do you want to see it? No, thank you, forget it. Everyone hurriedly stopped Joey from taking off his pants. By the way, Monica, can you lend me your moisturizing lotion when the time comes? Joey said excitedly. What? Monica was stunned, then turned her head and waved her hand, saying, it's in the bathroom. You can use it. Don't tell me how you are going to use it, and you don't have to return it. Thank you. Joey happily went in to get it. Even if the buttocks are on camera, makeup must be applied carefully. This is the professional quality of a professional actor. Joey. Adam thought about it, and when he saw him coming out with moisturizing lotion, he reminded him, I think you should not do this. Why? Joey was stunned. A buttocks substitute is just a buttocks substitute, Adam said carefully. The director's purpose of looking for you is not to let you show anger or despair, but to let Al Pacino's fans see an attractive buttocks. If you insist on showing it like this, you will probably be fired. No way, Joey said frustratedly. It's very likely, Adam reminded him. It's easy to find an attractive buttocks. Once you make them dissatisfied, they will not have time to listen to your explanation of the theory of angry buttocks. They will just replace you immediately. The result of forcing the drama will never be good. Ju Xingxing and Tang Ziyu have experienced this deeply. Then what should I do? Joey said in confusion. This is my best chance. If I am not allowed to perform, what's the point of being an actor? This is indeed your best chance. Adam smiled and said, but it is definitely not something that allows you to speak with your buttocks, but to find a chance to see if you can get in touch with the real body of your buttocks. Al Pacino, you are all of Italian descent. As long as you get this relationship, you will become famous in the future. There will be opportunities for you to perform this kind of stunt. Even if you ask the director to make a movie for it, it will be no problem. Yes, Phoebe agreed. Then others will be excited to say, "I want to play Joey Tribbiani's buttocks." Joey curled his lips and nodded repeatedly, with a very fascinated expression. P.S. Thank you Caillou Luza Shuang for the reward. Chapter 144 You are a scholar. The next day. Adam, come here. Ross pushed the door open and waved at Adam. What's wrong? What can't be said here? Monica, who was making breakfast, said dissatisfiedly. Topic between men. Ross shrugged and said, you don't want to know. OMG. Monica rolled her eyes and complained. Again? What's wrong with them? All these weird things that make people blind and deaf. Yesterday, Joey asked her to borrow moisturizing lotion and use the thing she applied on her face to apply on her buttocks. She still feels a little disgusted and uncomfortable when she thinks about it. Now her brother is doing something weird again. This life is really unbearable. Adam got up and followed Ross to the opposite side. Joey was there too. What's wrong? Adam asked curiously. Ross hesitated in a classic Ross style, laughing and humming, but didn't say it directly. He won't say dirty words. Joey couldn't stand it and said it directly for Ross. Then he said indignantly, I said I would help him, but he didn't believe me and said you are more professional. I didn't say that, Ross defended. I just think you two are very experienced. The first date failed. I must not fail again on the second date. To be safe, I want to listen to your opinions. Okay. Joey nodded first, then waved his finger. But I am the most professional. Dirty words. Adam couldn't help laughing after hearing the whole story. It turned out that Ross's date last night, although there was a big problem when watching the monkey Marcel grabbed Ross's female companion's hair and screamed, almost scaring the female companion away. But Ross's female companion was a colleague of the Prehistoric Biology Museum after all, and she was knowledgeable. After Marcel left, she let it go and didn't leave angrily. Instead, she started to make love with Ross on the sofa. Just when Ross was intoxicated and thought he would become a lucky dog tonight, his female companion made a request that made him dumbfounded. That is to make Ross say dirty words. Ross had never experienced this before. He was stunned, stuttering and humming for a long time, and only a word for the human body without any feeling came out of his mouth, which directly ruined the atmosphere. Fortunately, his female companion comforted him for a while and gave him a second chance. I hope he can perform well on the next date. Yeah, Ross said depressedly. She insisted, so I must learn it. How did Joey teach you? Adam smiled. I asked him to say it to me, Joey explained. Just practice on me, and I will definitely be able to do it then. For the happiness of his brothers, he has always been willing to do his best. Are you serious? Adam burst out laughing. Aren't you afraid that he will lose interest in his female partner and fall in love with you instead? OMG, Ross exclaimed. I was sane. Why did I feel that Joey's method was problematic before? Fortunately, I found you. Otherwise I would not be able to live if something went wrong. Hey, Joey said in a gay tone, even if something went wrong, am I so unworthy of you? You would rather die than accept me? His brain circuit was strange, and he didn't notice the main problem at all. He was really dissatisfied with Ross's words. Is he Joey Tribbiani so bad? Ross's eyes almost rolled back. What kind of tiger-like words were these? He was even more glad that he didn't listen to Joey. Not really. Adam laughed. As long as you don't bend over intentionally, no one can force you. Then what should I do now? Ross suppressed the complaints in his heart and looked at Adam expectantly. This problem is easy to solve, Adam reminded. Read more books. What's not in the books? Just find a few erotic novels, memorize them a little, and then you can use them casually and get it done in minutes. There is always a saying that the more knowledgeable people are, the better they are at playing with these things. You are a doctor after all. How come you can't even think of this? Yes, Ross slapped his forehead and said in annoyance. Why didn't I think of it? But, Adam, what erotic novels do you usually read that have these words? Obscene? I never read these, Adam said reservedly. Have you forgotten my part-time job? Part-time job? Ross was stunned. Stupid. Joey couldn't stand it anymore and shouted, Adam is a writer himself. and he can say as many obscene words as he wants. He can be as obscene as he wants. Why do he have to read what others write? Ross felt wronged and wanted to cry. Even Joey began to despise his IQ. No, I'm going to the bookstore to buy some books and memorize them. He walked out quickly, as if he was back in college exam days. What a silly kid. Joey sighed. You've become stupid from studying so much. You even need to read books to learn such basic skills. Don't just talk about Ross. How about you? Adam said with a smile. Aren't you planning to force your butt to play a role? I really want to try. Joey smiled shyly. I asked my agent. When I went to shoot, Al Pacino was not there at all. I can't get in touch with such a big star. I might as well try my best to let the director see my uniqueness. What if he likes me? Yeah, Adam nodded and said, it's possible. Really? Joey was greatly encouraged. It's indeed possible, Adam said playfully. What if the director is a gay and likes you who is different? Then you really have a great chance. Joey's face fell immediately. If the director was a beautiful director, he might have agreed. But this director was a big man. Then forget it, Joey said with a bitter face. I have already told my family. They are all looking forward to it. If they don't see me in the theater, they will be very disappointed. Are you sure they will see you in the theater? Adam laughed. It's hard to say about other people, but my mother will definitely recognize me, Joey said confidently. Adam didn't know whether to laugh or cry. This sounded too awkward. It was warm, but also a little weird and disgusting. That's not necessarily the case. Did you forget that you put on makeup? It's just moisturizing lotion, Joey shouted. Adam joked a few more times and then left. If he continued to chat with Joey, he suspected that his IQ would decrease. Thinking of this terrible result, he was so scared that he quickly called up the system panel to check again. He was relieved when he found that it had not decreased. OMG. Just as he was about to go back to the opposite side for breakfast, he heard a scream from inside before he opened the door. What's wrong? Adam pushed the door open and saw Monica holding a newspaper and shouting, Carolyn, it's Carolyn. Adam was shocked and quickly snatched the newspaper. He glanced at it and saw that it was indeed Caroline's photo. Chapter 145 Carolyn's News. 2 weeks ago, West Virginia, Tereb Parish. Carolyn drove from New York to this desolate place with a newspaper with a job advertisement circled on it. Someone was hiring a caregiver here, and the weekly salary was quite high. Otherwise, not many people would come to such a famous coast place. The employer was obviously a rich man who lived in a large manor. As soon as I drove over from the main road, I saw a road sign on it, Dave Manor, private territory, no entry. A small path led directly to the manor, with tall ancient trees on both sides, which looked very old. This kind of place should be managed by a dedicated person, but what Caroline saw was deserted. The big iron gate outside the manor was half open, and the branches and leaves of the big tree next to it stretched to the middle of the gate, and the car could touch it when entering the door. In addition, the weather was a little gloomy when Carolyn arrived, and the desolate and deserted scene was really a bit eerie and scary. But Caroline was mentally prepared for this. After looking at the manor, she went straight to knock on the door. There was no response. Caroline glanced at the rocking chair still rocking in the corridor outside the door, pushed the door, found it was not locked, and pushed it open and walked in. The room was a little dark, and there was a statue of the Virgin Mary at the door. In this atmosphere, there was no sense of holiness at all, but rather a more eerie feeling. The murals on both sides of the living room were also religious themes. Carolyn tied her hair into a ponytail and continued to walk inside while shouting. When she came to the back garden, she saw an old couple. The fat wife was cutting the hair of her husband in a wheelchair. This is the manifestation of true love. At this time, a gentle middle-aged man in a suit came from behind with a box of things in his arms, and said with a smile, "It's like the classic reappearance in the storybook. You must be Carolyn, right?" "Sorry, the door was not locked, so I came in." Carolyn looked at the man in the suit and apologized. "It's okay." The man in the suit smiled and said, "This house is very big, it's normal that you can't hear it. My name is Luke Coleman, a real estate lawyer. We talked on the phone." "Oh, yes." Caroline suddenly realized, while the two were chatting, the fat woman kept peeking at them, her eyes full of scrutiny and indifference. The doctor said he only has 1 month left, and he's almost dying. Real estate lawyer Luke looked at the old man in the wheelchair and explained. I know. Caroline nodded. This information had been said on the phone before. Valley, she's here. Luke shouted at the fat woman. This is Carolyn Ellis. She used to be a nurse at the New York University Medical Center. Carolyn, this is Valley Dave. Luke introduced the two. Your house is so beautiful, Carolyn praised. The fat woman's eyes flickered, looking at Luke, and then ignored Carolyn's greeting and walked directly into the room. I'm sorry, she's in a bad mood, and she's a traditional person. She thinks women should dress more modestly, Luke explained. Carolyn, who was wearing suspenders, smiled and looked at the old man in the wheelchair. So, he can't speak at all? No, because the stroke paralyzed his whole body. Luke shook his head. At this moment, the fat woman came over again and muttered, she is from another place. She must not understand the rules here, and what's wrong with her accent? Luke put his arm around the fat woman and comforted her. I know you want her to have a southern accent, but you can't find anyone else. The fat woman looked at Luke and saw him wink at her, then glanced at Caroline from top to bottom, and nodded helplessly. Okay, but she must not understand the rules here. Can't find a caregiver, huh? Carolyn expressed her dissatisfaction and was about to leave. But under Luke's persuasion, she decided to stay and give it a try. The fat woman hid by the window of the room the whole time, peeping at everything. When she saw Caroline being persuaded by Luke, she showed a cold smile. This was the 5th female nurse who came to apply for the job. She was not satisfied with the other 4. In fact, Caroline was not satisfied either. She wanted a black pearl more, but time did not allow it, and Luke seemed to like this nurse very much. Thinking of this, the fat woman glared at Luke's back. In the end, Caroline chose to accept, moved in, and got a master key. This kind of manor has many rooms, and the keys alone must be matched in a series, but as the owner, he has a master key that can unlock all the door locks. The fat woman, contrary to her previous refusal, unexpectedly gave this key to Carolyn. Carolyn took the key and began to take care of the male owner Ben Davo, who had a stroke and was paralyzed all over, but she found many abnormalities. For example, Ben, who was paralyzed all over, looked at her with fear and expectation, as if asking her for help or warning her. The fat woman looked at her as if she was looking at an object, and asked her very rudely if she had any tattoos. Carolyn hit back directly, saying that outsiders could not see them. The fat woman shook her head and left, obviously dissatisfied but helpless. When I was taking a shower at night, I felt someone peeping at me. There was not a single mirror in such a large manor with so many rooms. Where the mirror should have been hung, there were only traces of them being hung before, and they were obviously taken away. Then, the fat woman first reminded her not to walk around, and some rooms were filled with many precious antiques, and then she intentionally or unintentionally asked her to help get things. As an American, curiosity about mystery is engraved in her bones. The fat woman's cryptic words completely aroused Carolyn's curiosity. She secretly took the master key and opened one room after another, and saw many dusty, mysterious and strange things. Shocked, Carolyn threatened to leave and asked the fat woman to tell the story of the manor. It turned out that this manor had 2 black wizard slaves. They were a couple, but they dared to teach the manor owner's children witchcraft. In the end, they were hung up and burned alive on the big tree at the door of the manor by the manor owner. But legend has it that their ghosts have never left, and her husband Ben may have suffered a stroke and paralysis because of encountering their ghosts. In the attic, those mysterious and terrifying things that seemed like evil rituals were left by the black wizard couple. Caroline didn't believe it at first, but under the step-by-step guidance of the fat woman, she subconsciously went to the store that specializes in selling these mysterious items and bought some protective items. She suspected that it was not the ghosts that were evil, but the fat woman herself. One night with lightning and thunder, Carolyn, who sensed the danger, prepared to escape with Ben, but was chased by the fat woman. In panic, she could only temporarily abandon Ben and escape to ask lawyer Luke for help. Then she found that Luke was studying elementary real estate law, which reminded her of the fat woman's story about ghost possession and possession. Just as she was about to escape, She was knocked unconscious by Luke and taken back to the manor. When she woke up, she saw the fat woman and Luke looking at her with sinister smiles. Chapter 146 Sacrifice. Inside the manor. You want to sacrifice me? Carolyn understood everything. Luke has been sacrificed. The current Luke is Ben Davo, so he knows nothing about real estate law and needs to learn from the scratch. The paralyzed Ben is the real Luke. He wants to escape, right? During the weeks she took care of him, the paralyzed Ben once crawled out of the room and wanted to escape from the manor, but was intercepted by the fat woman. It was from that time that she completely doubted the fat woman and wanted to explore the real secret of the manor. You are very smart and finally understood, but it's too late. The fat woman said proudly, tell me, where is Ben? When escaping just now, Carolyn didn't care about Ben and hid him. Carolyn's hair was being pulled by the fat woman. Suddenly, she saw the red brick powder. She remembered that the line drawn with red brick powder could prevent evil spirits from entering. She had used red brick powder to test the fat woman before, and the fat woman did not dare to approach the room. So she pretended to surrender and said, he is in the back garden. The fat woman let go of Caroline's hair and said to Luke, watch her. I will find Ben. We can't let him escape. Okay, Luke agreed. Wait until the fat woman left. Caroline ran away directly, because the fat woman and others only tied her hands and did not restrict her feet. After learning that the fat woman wanted to possess her body, she was not afraid that Luke would shoot, so she ran into the room where she had deliberately sprinkled red brick powder. Luke could not enter. She ran out through the window, but was forced back. A Parker chase began. Driven away by the fat woman and Luke, Carolyn escaped into her room, found the extra red brick powder, and sprinkled red brick powder on the doors of one room after another. These red brick powders were like solid lines of protection, really blocking the fat woman and Luke, but there were too many rooms, and Caroline had no time to sprinkle red brick powder on all the rooms. In the end, she was chased by the fat woman to the attic. The attic was filled with lit candles, mirrors and mysterious symbols. The evil ritual was already in place. Carolyn quickly carved a protective pattern in the middle of the candle with her blood according to the protective pattern she had obtained before. Finally, before the fat woman came and called leisurely, she drew the protective pattern. You can't touch me. You can't get close to me. See? This is your protection spell. Haha. It turns out you don't understand. The fat woman laughed. Think carefully about where you got the protection spell on your hand. That's right, I gave it to you on purpose. Those patterns are just to trap you in the ritual. It's not a protection spell at all. Don't come over. Caroline raised the dagger in fear. Hee. The fat woman looked at her leisurely and chuckled. Carolyn, you are our choice. We have been waiting for you for a long time. Since you stepped into this manor, everything is to make you believe, because only if you truly believe, this sacrifice ceremony can succeed. She gave her acting skills a perfect score. Even if she went to Hollywood, she could easily get the Oscar for Best Actress. Although she looked like a villain, who cared? Justice is in the hands of the winner. As long as she succeeded, she would be the heroine of justice. Caroline recalled that when she first came here, the rocking chair in the empty corridor was obviously the fat woman waiting for her. She saw her car coming and went in to prepare it. The fat woman looked at her like an object, and was not satisfied with her accent, clothes, and tattoos. At the beginning of the conversation, the fat woman repeatedly mentioned that she didn't understand the rules here, which made her curious about the so-called rules. Then the fat woman veiled the story of the manor and told her not to wander around, but gave her a master key and repeatedly ordered her to go get things alone. Then she deliberately let Carolyn see her holding the so-called protection spell to protect herself from ghosts. The escape and chase afterwards were even more child's play, just to drive her here, so that she would believe in the sacrifice and ghost possession in a hurry, and complete the sacrifice ceremony herself. I don't believe it, Carolyn shouted. Haha, you believe it, the fat woman said proudly. When you carved the protection spell with your own blood, no matter what you say, you believe it in your heart, so the ritual can work. Do you know how difficult it is to believe this? As generations pass, people have less and less faith and are unwilling to believe in the mysterious power that originally existed. This makes it more and more difficult for us to survive, and it is difficult to succeed no matter how hard we try. The 4 caregivers in front are all black pearls. Although they don't know the real secret, they feel the mysterious atmosphere and vague legends here, and they are all scared away. Only you, Carolyn, who is as kind as the Virgin Mary, are willing to stay for patients like your old father to make up for the regret in your heart, right? Yes, we know everything about you. It is your lifelong regret that you didn't take care of your deceased father. No problem. We give you this opportunity. Although I don't like the tattoo on your buttocks, Ben. Oh, no, it should be called Luke now. He likes your body very much, so I can reluctantly accept it. Give up resistance, accept reality, and complete the sacrifice. Even if you have helped Ben a lot, we old guys will be very grateful to you. Isn't this what you want? Get out. I don't believe it. Caroline yelled again, but her body began to shake. You feel it, right? Don't worry. This is a special sacrificial potion, the fat woman explained. Ben has drunk it, you have drunk it, and I have drunk it. Only young bodies can resist the effect of this medicine. After we exchange bodies, you will be like Ben, paralyzed by a stroke and trapped in this aging body. The doctor can't detect any problems. Don't worry, I won't let you stay trapped in it. In order to thank you, I will send you on your way, with your young body. I have enough time to slowly choose the next body. At that time, I must find a black pearl, so that the body will be more energetic. As she said, she pointed a large mirror as tall as a person beside her at Caroline. I don't believe it, I don't believe it, I don't. Caroline screamed, her body shaking, as if she saw something horrible, and cried out in horror, "Oh, God, it's a pity that you don't believe in God, so God can't protect you." The fat woman sneered and pushed the mirror towards Caroline. "Your body is mine, ha 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 ha." Luke walked over, stood at the door, and watched the scene quietly. Chapter 147 Shock 520 Adam grabbed the newspaper and saw Carolyn's picture at first sight. He was shocked and hurried to read the title. It said, "Shocked, beautiful nurse is so touching and gets a fortune worth tens of millions." WTF? Adam immediately exclaimed in a classic Michaelis exclamation. "Carolyn is so lucky," Monica exclaimed. "She deserves it," Phoebe echoed. "She is like an angel, warming everyone around her." Incredible. Rachel took the newspaper from Adam's hand, looked at it carefully, and said enviously, "If I had such luck, tens of millions of fortunes would be enough for most people to struggle for a lifetime." "More than a lifetime," Monica said. "The average person's annual income is only $30,000. If you don't eat or drink for 50 years, you can earn 1.5 million. It takes several generations of a family to struggle to save tens of millions of fortunes." "Caroline has so much money. How many bags and shoes can she buy?" Rachel said with envy and longing. "She won't buy bags and shoes." Adam sighed. "Yes," Phoebe agreed, "Carolyn is so idealistic and has always wanted to bring love and care to more lonely elderly people. Even if she gets a fortune of tens of millions, she will definitely spend most of the money on this." "Wow," Rachel exclaimed. "No way." "She's willing to spend it?" "Of course she's willing to spend it." Phoebe turned into Caroline's little fangirl and kept praising her. "What's money? She's an angel. This money was given to her by God to do good deeds. I believe she will definitely spend it." Adam smiled bitterly. Unlike Phoebe and the others, he was closer to Caroline and knew that things were not that simple. There must be a shocking inside story. His brain was working at high speed, and some details from the past kept emerging. The people in the hospital are too indifferent. As soon as the patient dies, they want to drive them away immediately. Everything is about business. Where is the humanistic care? If I have the ability in the future, I will definitely build a nursing home and truly care for those elderly patients who have no family to take care of them. Treat them as family members, and let them feel the warmth of family love. Adam, do you believe in God? No? Me neither. What era is it now? There are still so many people who believe in the mysterious power of God or even the devil, and they will do a lot of crazy things for this, and even do not hesitate to hurt others. Do you think these people are stupid, bad and hopeless? I heard about some things recently, and I feel a little emotional. I often think that if these people really believe in God and have the time and energy to do those crazy things, they might as well take out all the money to truly practice the truth, goodness and beauty that God advises the world. My power is limited, but I will try my best." Caroline's words flashed in Adam's mind. Adam couldn't help but think of Caroline's firm eyes before she left, which made Adam have a bad intuition for a while. Now seeing this shocking news again, Adam actually had some vague guesses in his mind. What a big thing each of them has done. Adam sighed in his heart. However, compared to the fear and uneasiness he felt when he guessed what Juno had done before, at this moment, he only sighed. "Adam, you're at a loss," Rachel teased. "Why don't you contact the multimillionaire Caroline? Maybe she still remembers you, then you can save yourself decades of hard work." Haha. Adam laughed. "I have a good stomach and never eat gigolos." "Have you no contact with Caroline?" Monica asked curiously. "You two were so close before. Are you really done with it?" "No." Adam shook his head and said, "She left New York and didn't give me her phone number, but she knows my phone number. If she really wants to contact me, she can definitely contact me. The decision is in her hands. It's better not to contact her." Monica laughed. "Otherwise, when she comes back and sees Heather, there will probably be a good show." "Yeah." Rachel was afraid of chaos in the world. "What you said before was more than friends, less than lovers. We can become lovers and friends. I want to see if you can really do it." Adam smiled but said nothing. How could such a popular scene in the sheriff field happen to him? Ding-ling-ling. At this moment, the phone rang. "Caroline?" Monica answered the call and immediately exclaimed, winking at everyone. Okay, Adam, Caroline wants to see you." Adam took the phone, said a few simple words, and hung up. "What did she say?" Rachel asked curiously. "She invited me to come over to play." Adam smiled. "You?" Phoebe was a little unhappy. "I heard that she got a manor, and she didn't invite us all to come over to have a look." "I have never been to a manor." "I'll go over to have a look first." Adam comforted, "We can go together later." In fact, he didn't really want to go over, but Caroline was a friend identified by the system and provided him with power, and a comrade in arms who had been a regular output for a period of time. He still wanted to go over to see what she had experienced. Help if you can, and forget it if you can't. If you have done your best, you will have a clear conscience. At night, Central Park Cafe. "How was the filming?" Seeing Joey come in, Monica asked with a smile. "It must be good." Adam looked at Joey's face and said affirmatively. Monica complained, "Joey, are you playing this trick on us again?" Joey liked to pretend to fail and be in a state of despair so that everyone could comfort him, and then do a 180-degree turn. Haha. Joey couldn't pretend anymore, and laughed. "The filming went smoothly. You can see me when the movie is released." "This is Al Pacino's new movie. Didn't you show your angry buttocks acting skills?" Adam teased. Joey scratched his head embarrassedly. "I showed it, and I was scolded by the director. After that, I filmed honestly, otherwise I might have been fired directly as you said." "A wise choice." Adam laughed. Joey's behavior of forcing himself to add more scenes, if he was not lucky, would normally be hated and rejected by others. Dozens of people on the set made a lot of preparations to shoot a shot of you, and the shot that should have been passed in one shot was forced to be done again and again because you wanted to show off and forcibly add scenes. It's a waste of time and money. If the director fires you, that's a mild move. Like Zhu Xingxing in The King of Comedy, he was scolded and beaten, and finally lost his life. Why bother? If you are going in the wrong direction, the harder you work, the further away you will be from success. Chapter 148. Goodbye. Saturday, Adam drove to Tereb Parish in West Virginia. The big iron gate outside the manor was wide open, and several workers were mowing the lawn. In front of the manor, several cleaning ladies were cleaning. Caroline stood at the door, talking to a decorator holding a blueprint, pointing at the manor from time to time. "Adam, you're here." Hearing the movement of the car, Caroline turned around and saw Adam, and greeted him with surprise. "Caroline." Adam got out of the car and was immediately greeted with a warm hug. "Are you okay?" Hearing this, Caroline didn't say anything, but hugged tighter, as if she wanted to squeeze her whole body into Adam's body. Adam sighed and patted Caroline on the back. He felt Caroline's fear, and became more certain of his guess. "I'm fine." After a long time, Caroline calmed down, let go of Adam, and smiled brightly. "Mrs. Davo left all the family property to me. Now I have money to do what I want. I am planning to convert this manor into a nursing home." Congratulations. Adam looked at Carolyn's expression and saw that the joy in her eyes was not forced. He knew that although there were risks and twists and turns, everything went smoothly for her and she got what she wanted. He couldn't help but feel happy for her. Where are Mr. Davo and Mrs. Davo? Mr. Davo passed away. Carolyn's eyes flashed with a strange look. You know, the reason why I came here to be a caregiver is because Mr. Davo had a stroke and was paralyzed, and Mrs. Davo was too sad and also had a stroke and was paralyzed. I am taking care of her now. That's really pitiful. Adam looked a little strange. Yes, Carolyn nodded and said meaningfully, I will take good care of her. Did she really leave all her property to you? Adam asked curiously. Has it been notarized? Although it is a little unbelievable, it is true. Caroline sighed. The signing and notarization took place a week after I moved into the manor. I think she loves her husband too much. Seeing that I take good care of him, she looks at me differently. In addition, they have no children and even no servants, so they want to leave all their property to me. From this point of view, my dream of establishing a nursing home to care for the elderly and widows is even more necessary, because they really lack family affection. It's all fate. Adam smiled bitterly. This kind of thing is not uncommon. In his previous life, he had heard that a billionaire left all her property to her male servant, and her relatives did not get a penny. But there must be something to pay for what you gain. It is said that the male servant worked like a cow and a horse for her for more than 10 years. He couldn't stand all kinds of heavy humiliation and wanted to leave again, and finally succeeded in getting the property. Even so, the relatives of the rich woman repeatedly sued the male servant, saying that he used sinister means to deceive and embezzle the rich woman's property. Unfortunately, the inheritance was determined in advance and was fair. It was indeed left to the male servant by the rich woman willingly. No matter how angry the relatives of the rich woman were, it would be useless. Adam didn't know whether the male servant used sinister means, but there were many cases of murder for money because of property. For example, in American film and television dramas, there are often cases of murdering wives and husbands. The criminals bought huge life insurance for their lovers in advance, and the beneficiaries were naturally written as themselves, and then they created accidents to kill their lovers and obtained huge insurance money. Adam's ex-girlfriend, Magical Amy, wanted to frame her husband for murdering his wife in the original time and space because of various contradictions. An important part of the design was to deceive him into buying a huge insurance money for her. After she disappeared, this insurance money was heavyweight evidence, making it difficult for her husband to defend himself. Therefore, in the United States, it is a very cautious thing to write yourself as the beneficiary when buying life insurance for your lover, or to write your lover as the beneficiary when buying life insurance for yourself, because it can easily lead to crime. After all, in the United States, money is the most important thing. Carolyn, I'm leaving first. Contact me if you have anything. At this time, Luke, a middle-aged man in a suit, walked out of the manor, hugged Carolyn, nodded to Adam, and drove away. Adam glanced at Carolyn. He and Luke had met in the hospital before. He didn't believe that Luke didn't remember him, and Carolyn wanted to use Luke to scare him. Caroline shrugged and didn't explain why Luke Coleman was here. Adam pretended not to know. Luke's appearance made him completely understand what happened. I'll take you on a tour. Caroline took Adam to visit the manor. There were also cleaners hired to take down the religious paintings one by one, and the whole room looked bright and spacious. Most people in this place are believers, superstitious about various religious mysterious elements. Caroline said lightly, the Dell couple is a typical example, but I don't like these, so I asked someone to clear them all. Phoebe calls you an angel. Adam smiled. With you here, what religious mysterious elements are needed here? Haha. Carolyn couldn't help laughing. Phoebe is so cute. She is the real angel. Adam followed her to visit the entire manor, listened to the information she vaguely revealed, combined with his guess, and restored the course of events. In short, after the incident of the legally cruel Lily at the New York University Medical Center, Carolyn met Luke Coleman, was favored by Luke, and was chosen as a companion. Together, they designed to seize the property of the Davo couple who were originally planning to harm people. Back garden, a fat woman sat in a wheelchair, unable to move, staring blankly at the flowers blooming in the garden. This is Madame Davo. Caroline introduced Adam. Everything here is thanks to her gift. Adam looked at the fat woman and saw that her eyes were wide open, as if she was afraid and begging for something. When she didn't get a response, she turned to resentment and despair. Caroline smiled, and the scene of the fat woman laughing wildly that night appeared in her mind again. So you don't understand, Caroline, you are the one we chose. We have been waiting for you for a long time. From the moment you stepped into this manor, everything is to make you believe, because only if you truly believe, this sacrifice ceremony can succeed. The fat woman sneered and pushed the mirror towards Caroline. Your body is mine. Ha 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 ha. Unexpectedly, Caroline glanced at Luke, who was standing at the door and watching quietly. Seeing Luke nodded, his body stopped shaking and was not knocked down by the mirror. Instead, he caught the mirror lightly. How could this happen? The fat woman immediately realized that something was wrong. Are you okay? So you still don't understand? Caroline gently wiped the makeup on her face that was wet with tears, and chuckled. Mrs. Davo, you are the one we chose. We have been waiting for you for a long time. Since I stepped into this manor, everything is to make you believe, because only if you truly believe, this sacrificial ceremony can succeed. The fat woman's body shook. It was very exciting for her to say this, but hearing others say this to her was another experience. Chapter 149. The Truth. Dave Manor. Impossible. I don't believe it. The magic potion that the fat woman drank began to take effect. Her body became weak and she began to lose stability. She sat down on the floor and shouted in horror. Ha ha, you believed it. Caroline chuckled and repeated the arrogant words that the fat woman had said when she was proud. When you transferred all your property to me and drank the magic potion yourself, no matter what you said, you believed it in your heart, so the ritual has begun to work. No, I don't believe it. The fat woman seemed to have turned into Caroline, and kept denying it and shouted, Jasfi, what are you doing? Are you really going to give up our hundreds of years of husband and wife relationship for this little bitch? Exclamation mark in her eyes. The reason why it has become like this is that Luke must have been seduced by Caroline, the little bitch, and fell in love with Caroline and betrayed their feelings. Don't you understand? There is no Jasfi at all. Luke walked up to the fat woman, looked down at her, and chuckled. You are not Sicily either. It was just a legendary story back then. You took it too seriously and were obsessed with superstition. Jasfi and Sicily were the black wizard couple who were burned to death by the former owner of the manor. After the Davo couple bought the manor, they found some information in the ruins of the attic, which contained the witchcraft left by the black wizard couple. The Davo couple were believers, and they believed in the mysterious elements very much. As they got older, they became more and more eager for immortality. After discovering that God did not respond to them and their bodies were aging, they turned their attention to the witchcraft of the black wizard couple. After careful study, they found that this was actually a powerful witchcraft of rebirth. So, overjoyed, they devoted themselves to the interpretation, and gradually lost their minds, and began to think that they were the black wizard couple who were reborn. As for those who were burned to death, they were a pair of children of the owner of the manor who had been reborn. The spirit affected their behavior. The more they believed, the closer their behavior was to the black wizard couple they imagined. As a result, they had a very strong sense of identity with everything about black people. They decided to restart the witchcraft of rebirth. To this end, they tried not to contact outsiders, and did not even hire a servant, just to facilitate their actions. The first target was their real estate lawyer Luke Coleman. After a fierce operation, Ben successfully exchanged bodies with Luke, but they never thought that Luke was not replaced at all. As smart as he was, he had already discovered the secret of the Davo couple and decided to go with the flow. With his familiarity with the Davo couple and his own ability to adapt to circumstances, Luke successfully deceived the fat woman Mrs. Davo, although he also paid a price and had to use sweet words to promise his body. But that was a family fortune of tens of millions. Everything was worth it. As for the real Ben, because he drank the potion they developed based on the black wizard couple, he had a stroke and was paralyzed all over his body, unable to speak. The deceived Mrs. Davo kept feeding her husband medicine to ensure that he was always paralyzed, and eroded his body, so that he slowly died of illness. Then it was Mrs. Davos' turn to take over and be reborn. Although she had the experience of her husband's success, Mrs. Davos was still cautious and always asked Luke to choose someone that satisfied her. Luke was also very cautious because it determined whether he could get the money and have no future troubles. They needed a beautiful and kind caregiver. Mrs. Davos needed her to believe in the mysterious power. Luke needed her to have enough identity, courage and acting skills. When he met Carolyn at the New York University Medical Center, his eyes lit up and he began to investigate, contact and test Carolyn. Caroline was a little hesitant at first, but after knowing the evil of the Davos couple, she thought that she needed money to pay for her dream. In the end, they reached an agreement. They pretended not to know each other, contacted each other through newspaper advertisements and phone calls, and then cooperated with Mrs. Davos' performance to make her believe that Carolyn went from not believing at the beginning to believing in the end, and everything was under her control. Caroline had studied psychology and was quite talented. With Luke's secret cooperation, there were almost no flaws, which made Mrs. Davos very satisfied. Finally, he signed his name on the notarization of the inheritance, fantasizing that he could still live a wealthy life after taking over Carolyn's young body. After the success, Caroline and Luke did not act rashly, and continued to cooperate with Mrs. Davos' performance, and then counterattacked when Mrs. Davos showed her fangs. In this way, even if the matter failed, they would not have much problem, whether legally or morally, because everything was Mrs. Davos' decision. She prepared the magic potion and drank it herself, and she just had a stroke because she was too sad about the death of her lover, and she was not dead. No one would care about the paralyzed life of an old woman living in seclusion. Caroline and Luke divided the Davos couple's property 50-50. Luke got a large amount of money and antiques, and saved decades of struggle. Caroline got a manor and funds to realize her dream. After a year or so, Mrs. Davos, who was paralyzed by a stroke, died of illness, and everything would be sealed in history, and no one would know about it anymore. Adam had a vague idea of what was going on, but he would just pretend he didn't know. Caroline was his friend, and she was doing good things. Why would he help a bad guy to deal with his righteous friend? But that didn't mean he agreed with her approach. It was too risky. Any plan had the risk of getting out of control, and Carolyn's reaction to him was enough to prove that it wasn't all smooth sailing. Caroline was just an ordinary person after all. When Mrs. Dave pointed a gun at her, how could she not be afraid even if she knew the other party's plan? What are you going to do in the future? Are you going to stay here? Adam suppressed his feelings and asked with a smile. Yeah. Caroline glanced at Adam, a little disappointed, but soon her eyes became firm. This is my dream. I will work hard to realize it here. I wish you success. Adam blessed. Go back and see when you have time. Phoebe and the others are all thinking about you. I will. Caroline smiled. Adam and Carolyn looked at each other and confirmed their eyes. Under Carolyn's guidance, they went to her room. She was in a state of high mental tension during this period, and she needed more than just Adam's spiritual comfort. After all, she didn't believe in God, but in science. And Adam was the embodiment of science. Chapter 150, Expediting Manuscripts. Dave Manor. 2 days later, Adam, the scientific tool man, drove back to New York. Adam, call back quickly. Your phone. No, my phone is about to explode. As soon as he arrived at apartment 520, he heard Monica yelling a little frantically. Who is it? Adam asked curiously. The editor-in-chief of Random House. Monica said frantically. I told him that you were out for something, and he called 10 times a day to ask about it. Do you want me to live? Don't get excited. I'll call right away. Adam picked up the phone and called Jack Surf, the editor-in-chief of Random House. Jack, it's me. What's the matter that you need me for so urgently? Okay, I'll be there now. After hanging up the phone, Adam stood up and prepared to leave. Hello? Monica stopped Adam and said frantically, shouldn't you tell me what he wants from you? He's asking you to do it like a ghost. He really is asking you to do it. Adam smiled bitterly. He wants to talk to me about the publication of the second part of The Lord of Mysteries. Huh. Monica felt relieved when she heard that. She made way for him and complained. Why didn't you just tell me earlier? You're so mysterious that you don't need me to tell you. It's making me eat and sleep poorly. Sorry. Adam apologized. I left him the phone number here before. I'll ask him not to call here again this time. It doesn't matter. Monica smiled embarrassedly. He called your apartment phone but couldn't get through, so he called me. I just can't stand his slowness. He won't tell me anything and keeps calling to ask me. Random House. Editor-in-Chief's office. Our great writer is here. Please take a seat. Tea or a drink? Jack's surf was very enthusiastic. Tea is fine. Adam accepted this enthusiasm calmly, because he deserved it. Whoever can bring benefits is the boss. This is an unshakable truth. Linda, serve tea. Good tea. Jack immediately pressed the intercom and told the secretary. Congratulations. The second edition of Lord of Mysteries has sold out 100,000 copies. The subsequent feedback from various channels is very positive. We are preparing to issue a third edition of 500,000 copies and distribute it throughout the country. Jack smiled and said, at Dark Horse, the sales of Lord of Mysteries comics are also very hot. More film and television production companies have tried to contact us. Don't talk about film and television copyrights for the time being. Adam was very satisfied with this. After thinking for a while, he said, the current special effects are not enough to show the world of Lord of Mysteries well. Let's wait a little longer. Moreover, the sales of 100,000 copies of novels are completely different from those of 500,000, 1 million, and 5 million copies. Let's talk about it after the number of novels is released. Okay. Jack naturally understood this truth. The reason why he mentioned it was to give it a try. If the deal was successful, the money he would get from the film and television production alone would be really good. After all, it takes a lot of time to publish more copies of Lord of Mysteries and develop special effects technology. Who knows if he will still be in office when that time comes. But he is also a smart man and knows when to stop. When Adam came to him, he directly pointed out the means by which second-hand dealers make a profit. It's okay to mention it, but if you are too enthusiastic or even relentless, you are a fool. The sales of Lord of Mysteries are booming, and the expected revenue has skyrocketed. It has already been registered with the company. If you annoy Adam at this time, he will definitely be unlucky. Adam, have you finished writing the second part of Lord of Mysteries? Not yet. Adam shook his head. Then we must hurry up, Jack urged. The sale of new books will have a significant impact on the old books. We have made a series of publicity plans, but we are waiting for your second part. When can you submit the manuscript? Adam thought for a moment. Before the summer vacation? No, Jack flatly denied. That's too late. Do you know how good the situation is now? It would be a waste if you don't strike while the iron is hot. Moreover, many of your loyal fans are writing to us, strongly urging you to publish the second part as soon as possible. There are even extreme fans who asked us for your address and said they want to come to your house for advice. You didn't give it to me? Adam was shocked. In his previous life, he had heard of sending razor blades to urge for updates, but that was a joke. But this is the United States. The happy and free United States. Extreme fans said they wanted to come to your house for advice, which was really not a joke. Of course not. Jack shook his head and said, but I advise you to submit the manuscript and publish the book as soon as possible. Otherwise the fans who are waiting impatiently may come to find you. Even if we don't provide the address, they are very powerful and may not be unable to find you if they really want to. Okay. Adam's mouth twitched. Although he knew that Jack was exaggerating, he decided to speed up the progress. Now his endurance has reached the level of showing off. He is still energetic and vigorous after not sleeping for several nights. If he really wants to type, he can type very fast. It's just that the lazy habits he developed in his previous life have always affected him, making him lose motivation to type a few thousand words a day. Reading books, studying, hunting games, chatting with friends, fighting with goblins, isn't it nice? But thinking about the recent period of time, buying a car, buying a modified cabin in the forest, buying guns, buying medical equipment, and upgrading food, clothing, housing and transportation, etc., it really costs money like water. If he doesn't make money, he really feels a sense of urgency that he will eat up all the money. In this way, his lazy days seem to be gone forever. After leaving Random House and returning to apartment 520, everyone was stunned. especially Rachel. You want to reprint 500,000 copies? I remember that you got 500,000 royalties for the second edition of 100,000 copies last time. Wouldn't 500,000 copies be 2.5 million? Almost, but it's not exactly 2.5 million. There's still a small change. Adam explained. That's a lot of money. Is writing really that profitable? Why don't I have the talent to write books? Everyone was deeply moved. No way. Rachel suddenly stood up and shouted in surprise, I am also a writer. I also want to be famous and make a lot of money. I will write a book now. After that, she ran into the bedroom and started writing. Adam was not optimistic about this. In fact, Rachel had no perseverance at all. Although she was so excited now, it was because she was stimulated by Adam's huge income. When she woke up after a sleep, she found that her writing was not smooth, and she would definitely start slacking off again. 3 o'clock in the morning, Heather woke up in a daze and found that her chest was empty. This was an experience she had never had since being with Adam. She was very uncomfortable. She closed her eyes and reached out to touch the side. There was nothing. She opened her eyes immediately. Adam? Heather called out, but no one responded. A ray of light shone through the crack in the door. She rubbed her eyes and opened the bedroom door. She saw that the lights in the living room were on and a figure was typing at a desk. D.A. 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 Heather listened for a while and suddenly she was no longer sleepy. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.